Chapter 1559. Come, True Stability Branch Transformation. Facing the winds of assimilation, Land Spirit of Langya growled, using an immortal killer move. Once this move was used, the silver giant underwent a huge transformation. The huge human body turned into a huge tree. Its trunk was silver white. It had countless branches and countless leaves that looked like they were carved from silver, shining brightly as they collided with each other, emitting crisp sounds. The branches and leaves grew rapidly, facing the winds of assimilation. The winds of assimilation were rampaging everywhere, but after being obstructed by the giant tree, their expansion was halved. The winds of assimilation were actually blocked. Unbelievable. Lang Ya Blessed Land's foundation is truly unfathomable. The Snowman, Inkman, and Rockman Gu immortals saw this and were overjoyed. This is True Stability Tree? A red and white rainbow flew out of the wind of assimilation. It was Feng Joga. Even though he created assimilation wind song, it could create the winds of assimilation. But once this wind appeared, Feng Joga had to leave the wind core immediately, otherwise, when the winds of assimilation spread and fill up the empty space in the wind core, Feng Joga would die. Feng Joga could only create the winds of assimilation, he could not manipulate them. It wasn't that he hadn't tried it before. However, any method of manipulation would be assimilated by the winds of assimilation and strengthen them. Feng Joga had the immortal killer move Song Warrior. He could use Heaven and Earth Song, Separation Song, and others to form clones. But assimilation wind song could not form Song Warrior. Feng Joga left the battlefield. Land Spirit of Langya and the rest were focused on dealing with the winds of assimilation. They did not have the energy to pay attention to him. It really is the true stability tree, to think that they have a method to counter the winds of assimilation. Feng Joga watched from afar, his eyes shining with bright light. This true stability tree was a legendary immemorial desolate plant. It was famous in history. Since the immemorial antiquity era, before Renzu was born, it had existed in this world. After the remote antiquity era and olden antiquity era, it died at the hands of Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable in the medieval antiquity era. There were many wild immortal GU on this tree, among which there were several rank 8 immortal GU. When Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable only had rank 8 cultivation level, when he was traveling in Eastern Sea, tsunamis and floods wreaked havoc in the world. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable could not use his immortal GU to quell this flood. He borrowed 2 rank 8 immortal GU, Calm Wind and Quiet Wave, from the True Stability Tree in Eastern Sea. But this legendary immemorial desolate plant, with its status and strength, did not want to lend it to Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. It gave harsh conditions. Genesis Lotus was furious and fought with it. He killed the Truth Stability Tree and took all of its GU, quelling the flood and saving countless mortals. Although Genesis Lotus killed the Truth Steadying Tree, he was full of praises for it. Later on, when he became a Venerable One, he would occasionally sigh. It was truly a pity that he got rid of this tree back then. This tree was unique in this world and had the ability to restrain the winds of assimilation. Fang Yuan was someone who had been reborn, so he already knew about the Song of Gale in Feng Joga's hands. This move was extremely powerful. During the 5 regions chaotic war, countless GU immortals were killed by it. Thus, countless GU immortals thought of ways to find this move's weakness. There were no unsolvable moves in this world, only unsolvable people. Even though Song of Gale was strong, this move was fixed. There would always be a weakness. Western Desert's rank 8 GU immortal, 1000 transformations ancestor, got to the bottom of it and obtained the help of another time path rank 8 great expert, witnessing the power of the Truth Stability Tree in the River of Time. After returning, he deduced the transformation path killer move, Truth Stability Transformation. Using this move, he could restrain the winds of assimilation. At that time, Feng Joga only had rank 7 cultivation level, but he had to lure a rank 8 GU immortal to research and deal with it. This showed how powerful Song of Gale was. Fang Yuan remembered this. He made preparations for it. In his previous life, when Feng Joga attacked Lang Ya Blessed Land, to deal with Feng Joga's strongest Song of Gale, he used the Light of Wisdom and Transformation Path attainment level to deduce Truth Stability Branch Transformation. This move was only a simplified version of Truth Stability Transformation, but Feng Joga's Song of Gale was not as grand and complete as it was during the Five Regions' chaotic war. Thus, when Land Spirit of Langya activated this move, the silver giant turned into a branch of Truth Stability Tree, blocking the winds of assimilation. Go deal with Feng Joga, don't let him do as he pleases. After I deal with the winds of assimilation, I will help you kill him, Land Spirit of Langya shouted, commanding the other three variant human GU immortals. The variant human GU immortals immediately responded, manipulating the super immortal formation to attack Feng Joga. Land Spirit of Langya was covered in cold sweat. He concentrated on maintaining the killer move to deal with the winds of assimilation. He complained inwardly, Fang Yuan taught me this killer move, but I feel that this killer move is too complicated and did not practice it much. To think that Feng Joga would really attack me, I will have to face the winds of assimilation so soon. Sigh, if I had known this, I would have practiced this method even harder. Lang Ya's side was not restricted by the winds of assimilation, they struggled to hold on. Countless branches touched the winds of assimilation and were destroyed, but at the same time, new branches grew out. This move could block the winds of assimilation, but the price to use it was huge. It expended a lot of immortal essence and the GU immortals' mental energy. Soon, many hairy man GU immortals inside the silver giant tree became dispirited. They looked like they were in low spirits. Persevere, persevere. Land Spirit of Langya encouraged. Lord, why can't we abandon this blessed land? A hairy man GU immortal suggested. Land Spirit of Langya came from Lang Ya blessed land. He had the ability to give up this blessed land. That way, the winds of assimilation inside would not be able to threaten Lang Ya blessed land. Compared to the whole of Lang Ya blessed land, giving up this piece of land was nothing. It was not even a drop in the ocean. No. Land Spirit of Langya rejected. He thought of Fang Yuan's solemn reminder earlier. He explained, once we do that, we will fall into the enemy's trap. Giving up the blessed land means connecting to the outside world. It is like opening a door at that moment. That way, our Lang Ya blessed land's location will be discovered by the enemy. We cannot do that. This Land Spirit of Langya is willing to pay a huge price to deal with the winds of assimilation rather than give up this small piece of blessed land. Feng Joga had a shocked expression. If Land Spirit of Langya did this, he would definitely leak crucial clues. Prince's impatience, who was roaming around the outside world, would immediately sense it. This way, the battle would be decided. With the rank 8 GU immortal Prince's impatience making a move, these Lang Ya hairy man GU immortals would not be able to stop him. But Land Spirit of Langya gritted his teeth and refused to do this. Feng Joga's plan failed. Crack! A shocking bolt of lightning appeared out of nowhere, striking at Feng Joga's head. Feng Joga moved like smoke, vanishing on the spot. He successfully dodged it. He looked at the sky as thoughts flashed in his mind. Heavenly Giant Solar is restrained by the winds of assimilation. Only this super immortal formation is left. Dealing with it is much easier than dealing with Heavenly Giant Solar. Immortal Killer Move Separation Song. Feng Joga activated Separation Song. As expected, the super immortal formation started to break apart. Even though Separation Song did not have any offensive power, it had incredible power. It could break apart any GU formation. But thankfully, when Fang Yuan created this formation, he had thought about it thoroughly. He arranged this immortal formation into multiple layers. Feng Joga activated Separation Song, but he only broke apart the outermost layer of this super immortal formation. The three variant human GU immortals were at the center. They were unharmed. Feng Joga urged Separation Song again. Soon, he broke apart the outermost layer. But the immortal formation's third layer was exposed. Oh! I want to see how many layers this immortal formation has. Feng Joga's eyes shined with bright light. He continued to use Separation Song. This time, he broke apart 5 to 6 layers before stopping. Even someone as strong as Feng Joga felt like vomiting blood. How many layers does this immortal formation have? Separation Song expended a huge amount of immortal essence. After using it several times, Feng Joga's immortal essence reserves were less than 30% of before the battle. Of course, The biggest expenditure was still assimilation wind song. If I use assimilation wind song, I can use it countless times, but the risk is too high. Feng Joga shook his head. He dispelled the thought of using this killer move again. Even though this move was powerful, it was too dangerous. Feng Joga rarely used it. Back then, when he sparred with Prince's Impatience, even though he used assimilation wind song, that was just sparring. Prince's Impatience had written a letter to Spirit Affinity House. He was unhappy with Feng Joga's twin phoenixes theory. It gave Feng Joga huge political pressure. When Feng Joga went to Northern Plains, he challenged Prince's Impatience to one move. In that competition, Feng Joga had enough time. He activated his GU worm slowly. There was no outside interference, the risk was low. But at this time, Feng Joga was in battle. There was a lot of outside interference. He had to use his killer move quickly. Earlier, Feng Joga had no choice but to take the risk. But now, he was facing the super immortal formation. The pressure he felt was much smaller. Feng Joga did not use assimilation wind song. He looked around. The silver tree was still dealing with the winds of assimilation. The winds of assimilation had already shrunk by more than half. After a while, Lang Ya's side would be able to suppress the winds of assimilation. They would be able to deal with Feng Joga. Time is running out. Feng Joga sighed internally. Heavenly Giant Solar had both offense and defense. Even the winds of assimilation could not do anything to it. If Feng Joga attacked the silver tree now, it would not be effective. In this attack on Lang Ya Blessed Land, the strength that Lang Ya's side displayed was far beyond Celestial Court's expectations. Feng Joga already had thoughts of retreating. But before that, I still have something to do. He smiled as he activated an investigative immortal killer move. His body flashed like light. In an instant, he crossed an extraordinary distance and landed in front of Guo Fangjing. You! Before Guo Fangjing could react, Feng Joga suppressed him and kept him in his immortal aperture. There is still this place. Feng Joga flew into the sky, landing somewhere in Cloud Cover Continent. He saw Dang Hun Mountain. Retrieve. He activated an immortal killer move that he had prepared in advance, storing this secluded domain of heaven and earth into his immortal aperture as well. These cloud cities, even though they are all mortal GU houses, there are many hairy man elites living inside. They are all GU immortal seeds of Lang Ya sect. Not bad, not bad, I will take them all. Next, Feng Joga continued to attack, taking in many of the cloud cities in Cloud Cover Continent. His actions were obstructed by the super immortal formation, but this formation was already split into many layers by Feng Joga. Its power was greatly reduced. As for Heavenly Giant Solar, it was restrained by the winds of assimilation. Once it escaped, the winds of assimilation would expand several times in an instant, causing all of Lang Ya Land Spirit's hard work to go to waste. Therefore, he could not stop it. What aura is this? While rampaging, Feng Joga sensed the aura of Wisdom GU. He was shocked. Chapter 1560. Even Feng Joga's heart shook when he saw Wisdom GU. This was Wisdom GU. In the legends of Ren Zhu, it was once star constellation Immortal Venerable's vital immortal GU. There was no one who did not know of it. To think that it would appear in front of Feng Ju GE in such a situation today. Lang Ya Blessed Land actually has Wisdom GU. Feng Joga's heart shook intensely. He could not control himself for a moment. But soon, he forced himself to calm down. Bright light shined in his eyes. He looked at Wisdom GU carefully. He was shocked to find that this rank 9 Wisdom GU was a wild immortal GU. A thought instantly occupied Feng Joga's mind. That was to take this rank 9 Wisdom GU away. Immortal killer move, obtain treasure song. He activated the killer move with unprecedented strength. It burst out with rank 8 level power. Obtain treasure song could help Feng Joga refine wild immortal GU directly. The song was warm and gentle. It was filled with a peaceful aura. Along with the song, Wisdom GU, which was dancing on the branches, quietened down. Rank 9 Wisdom GU. The variant human GU immortals controlling the super immortal formation were shocked. Wisdom GU was originally hidden in this valley, concealed by the land spirit of Langya. The variant human GU immortals of the three races were outsiders after all. They did not discover this place. But now, this place was destroyed by Feng Joga. Wisdom GU was exposed. The variant human GU immortals of the three races sensed it. We cannot let him subdue Wisdom GU. Quickly attack, disrupt him. Land Spirit of Langya shouted anxiously, quickly ordering. Soon after, he added, but you have to be careful, don't destroy the Wisdom GU. Even without his reminder, the variant human GU immortals of the three races knew the value of this rank 9 immortal GU. But at this moment, to disturb Feng Ju GE without affecting the nearby Wisdom GU, it was quite difficult for these variant human GU immortals who had just familiarized themselves with the immortal formation to control the situation. The variant human GU immortals could only grit their teeth and control the immortal formation, attacking Feng Joga with all sorts of attacks. Feng Joga grunted as he activated Song Warrior. Obtain Treasure Song Warrior flew towards Wisdom GU, while the other Song Warriors helped Feng Joga to block the immortal formation's attacks. The variant human GU immortals attacked too heavily, their attacks were dangerous to Wisdom GU, but Feng Joga defended Wisdom GU. Wisdom GU sensed danger, its survival instincts took over as it escaped. Wisdom GU sensed danger, its survival instincts took over as it escaped. Feng Ju GE's heart instantly sank to rock bottom when he saw this. Of GU immortal GU immortal GU immortal GU immortals GU is of GU Shiyang, but Shi GU was Lu. If I can't get my hands on it, then I'll just destroy it. Feng Ju GE rejected the idea as soon as it appeared in his mind. This was rank 9 Wisdom GU, it was too much of a pity to destroy it. Furthermore, this immortal GU belonged to star constellation Immortal Venerable. If he could obtain it, it would be extremely beneficial to Feng Joga, the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent, and even the Celestial Court. Feng Joga was unwilling, he did not want to give up. Don't go. Feng Joga flew towards Wisdom GU. Wisdom GU was fast, but Feng Joga chased after it. Wisdom GU sensed Feng Joga's threat, it buzzed and emitted an intense light. Light of Wisdom. Feng Joga was unavoidably shrouded in the light of wisdom. At once, countless thoughts appeared in his mind, his wisdom rose, his gaze became extremely sharp. All sorts of problems and questions in his cultivation were answered at this moment. Even though he did not get an answer immediately, many obstacles and bottlenecks were easily broken through. Oh no! Feng Joga was a legendary character after all. After being immersed in the light of wisdom for a few breaths, he realized something was amiss. He bit his tongue and forced himself to be clear-headed, before retreating rapidly. After leaving the light of wisdom, he looked at Wisdom GU flying away with lingering fear. Such an amazing Wisdom GU, in such a short time, my lifespan has been reduced by so much. A strand of hair in front of Feng Joga's forehead turned white. I came here to capture Gua Fangjing and take Danghun Mountain because of Lady Ziwei's arrangements. But to think that there was a rank 9 Wisdom GU here. I have already done my best, but I cannot take this GU away alone. Lang Ya Blessed Land probably cannot refine this Wisdom GU, otherwise, they would have done it already. Feng Joga's thoughts moved like lightning. Immortal GU were unique. A wild immortal GU was extremely attractive to any GU immortal. Not to mention that in front of Feng Joga was a rank 9 wild immortal GU. Among them, the most crucial point was that this immortal GU was Wisdom GU. If Wisdom GU is refined by them, it is almost impossible to snatch it. But it is still in a wild state now. I need to return and report this important information to the sect and Celestial Court. The next time I attack Lang Ya Blessed Land, I need to get this GU. Feng Joga breathed in deeply, he looked at Wisdom GU, which had shrunk to the size of a sesame seed, reluctantly before activating an immortal killer move. This immortal killer move, which used rank 7 fixed immortal travel as the core, was called human travel. It was created by the space path great expert Liang. Feng Ju GE wasn't very familiar with this move, but this move had an unusual profundity. Once activated, not only could it send people to any place in the world, it could also send them back. The first half was the most difficult, but the second half was extremely simple. Liang's will had already activated this move, Feng Joga was only using it to complete the second half. Swoosh! With a soft sound, Feng Joga vanished on the spot. A few breaths of time later, the land spirit of Langya drove the silver giant and arrived. Damn it, Feng Joga, you actually ran away. Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects, I will not let you off. The land spirit of Langya looked at the destroyed Lang Ya blessed land as he roared in anger. Southern border, inside the immortal battlefield killer move. Lu Weiyin sighed deeply. 3 lives and 3 lives had passed, but Fang Yuan was not enlightened by him. I was wrong. I thought this Fang Yuan was heartless, or was filled with hatred and anger, that was why he harmed the world. But the truth is, he has abundant emotions, he lacks none. Even though he pursues strength, he is not biased. What really drove him to do this was his pursuit. This pursuit is deeply rooted in the deepest part of his heart, not to mention 3 lifetimes, even 100 lifetimes cannot destroy it. Such a person cannot be reformed. Master, Yi Fan muttered. At this time, not just him, Shongxin Ci and the rest, as well as Tai Mian-shen and the other Jiyu immortals, opened their eyes and woke up. The scenes in the 3 lives and 3 worlds left most people in a daze. They were all reminiscing about the profound feelings within. Lu Weiyin looked around, his gaze paused on Shongxin Ci for a moment. Shongxin Ci's eyes were red, she almost shed tears, her sorrow was indescribable. She had emotional entanglement with Fang Yuan in 3 lifetimes. Lu Weiyin nodded to himself as he said to everyone, I failed, this demon cannot be stopped, he is about to break the killer move and escape, let's leave. Yi Fan was shocked. Master, we clearly still have the advantage. Lu Weiyin smiled bitterly, I have already tried my best. Let's leave. The mortal Jiyu masters were confused, but Tai Mian-shen and the 2 Yi clan Jiyu immortals had a guess. Tai Mian-shen said directly, Senior's surname is Lu, and you specialize in Earth Path, are you the inheritor of Paradise Earth's true inheritance? Lu Weiyin nodded, that's right, I am Lu. As expected. Yi clan's Jiyu immortals sighed as they bowed to Lu Weiyin again. At the same time, they no longer had any doubts towards Lu Weiyin's words. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable did not have any killer moves, the Paradise Earth true inheritance that he left behind was the same. Lu Weiyin was skilled in trapping and reforming enemies, this was the greatest specialty of Paradise Earth true inheritance. Among the 10 Venerables, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was the most benevolent and compassionate, he was the one who restored order to the world by spectral soul demon Venerable. But for some reason, such an immortal Venerable did not choose Celestial Court, he stayed in southern border and left Paradise Earth's true inheritance here. Chapter 1561. In the silver-white sky, there were countless buildings. With a flash of jade light, Feng Joga appeared in Ziwei Palace. Greetings to Lady Ziwei. Feng Joga immediately regained his senses and cupped his fists. In the huge palace, Fairy Myrtle was sitting cross-legged on a cloud bed. Seeing that Feng Joga had returned, she slowly opened her eyes. In an instant, her pupils shot out boundless starlight, it was dazzling and bright, illuminating the entire palace. Feng Joga did not speak, he directly sent out an information path GU worm. Fairy Myrtle received it and scanned it with her mind, she knew the result. Feng Joga, you are indeed the current generation Tao Guardian of Great Dream Immortal Venerable, you did well this time. Fairy Myrtle did not stint on her praise. Feng Joga smiled, this is that Gua Fangjing. Saying so, he opened his immortal aperture's entrance and took out the captive. Gua Fangjing's eyes were shut, he was hit by Feng Joga's method and fell into a deep sleep. As for Fang Yuan's will in his body, it was completely suppressed by Feng Joga. Feng Joga placed Gua Fangjing on the ground and sighed, I have already searched this person's soul, that Fang Yuan is truly a demon, he is extremely cold and merciless, he actually wanted to refine his own brother into a blood deity. But I don't understand, this person is only a mortal, even though he has a close relationship with Fang Yuan, why does he value him so much? Fairy Myrtle said slowly, the heavenly Tao is balanced, yin and yang revolve around each other, near the caves of poisonous creatures, there are often herbs that can detoxify. This Gua Fangjing was born together with Fang Yuan, He is an obstacle specially set up by the heavenly Tao for Fang Yuan. If he is nurtured properly, he will be very useful against Fang Yuan in the future. So that's it. Feng Zhouge nodded. What a pity. As Fairy Myrtle spoke, she also searched Feng Zheng's soul. She sighed and continued, Fang Yuan didn't refine a blood deity and continue his blood Tao cultivation in his previous life. Otherwise, we would have used the Demon Judgment Board to lock onto Fang Yuan's position. In my opinion, Fang Yuan has yet to realize that the blood path he cultivated in his previous life was specially arranged by Providence. He did not cultivate the blood path in this life, so he should be using his fate to protect himself. Fate GU has yet to be repaired, but the power of luck path is magnified, it is very obvious. You were able to succeed and return smoothly because you are a Tao protector. Your luck is strong, and you weren't suppressed by Fang Yuan's side. Feng Zhouge nodded. What about Dang Hun Mountain? Then what about Wisdom GU in Lang Ya Blessed Land? Just take it out. Fairy Myrtle smiled. Feng Zhouge was slightly dazed. He took out Dang Hun Mountain from his immortal aperture. This pink crystal mountain was huge, but when it landed in Ziwei Palace, it was suppressed and shrunk to the size of a palm. It was exquisite. Spectral soul demon Venerable rampaged in the world. He slaughtered all living beings and created Soul Path. The Celestial Court was the leader of the righteous path. Before Spectral Soul became Venerable, they sensed his threat and fought against him. They knew their enemies well. After Spectral Soul died, Soul Path continued to develop. Even though it was suppressed by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, the Celestial Court's mastery of Soul Path methods had reached an extremely profound level. In fact, there were many Soul Path GU immortals in the Celestial Court. Dang Hun Mountain had a vast number of Soul Path Tao marks. It was a secluded domain of heaven and earth of Soul Path. Since Fairy Myrtle could give Feng Zhouge the method to take this mountain, she naturally had an even more profound method to shrink the entire Dang Hun Mountain into a model. Fairy Myrtle waved her hand. Dang Hun Mountain floated into her hand as if it was weightless. Amazing, amazing. Fairy Myrtle looked at it for a while before nodding. With this mountain, Guts GU can be obtained continuously. Jinhuang can benefit from it. It will be like adding wings to her dream realm exploration. Feng Zhouge smiled faintly. As a father, he was naturally happy to be able to help his daughter. As for Wisdom GU, Fairy Myrtle pondered for a while. I must obtain this GU, Zhouge, go and rest. We need to discuss this further. If they attacked Lang Ya Blessed Land a second time, the other side would definitely be vigilant and make ample preparations. Especially when Fang Yuan might return, Fairy Myrtle would need to plan in detail. Yes. Feng Zhouge took his leave and left Ziwei Palace. He left Celestial Court and returned to Spirit Affinity House. Fairy Myrtle also left Ziwei Palace. She held Dang Hun Mountain in one hand as she moved slowly. A moment later, she arrived in front of a dark hall. This hall's plaque had 3 words written on it: Soul Suppression Hall. This was the Rank 8 Immortal GU house, the place where Spectral Soul was imprisoned. Fairy Myrtle smiled as she brought Dang Hun Mountain to Spectral Soul. "Oh Demon Venerable, what do you think this is?" Fairy Myrtle smiled lightly as she spoke. Spectral Soul was silent as steel. Fairy Myrtle nodded, stubborn as expected, a true demon. "However, I didn't bring this mountain here to crush your will. I know you have used this mountain before. It is a place where you cultivated for many years. Coincidentally, I have this move. As long as I use it on something closely related to you, I can shake your mind and draw out all of your memories." Spectral Soul was still silent as if he was dead. The smile on Fairy Myrtle's face gradually vanished. Cold lightning flashed in her eyes. All along, she had been troubled by Spectral Soul's stubbornness. She wanted to plunder his precious memories, but there was little progress. Now that she obtained Dang Hun Mountain, Fairy Myrtle had a rare breakthrough. She was going to teach Spectral Soul a lesson first. At the next moment, the Immortal Killer move was activated. The whole of Soul Suppression Hall let out a buzzing sound as radiance shot out in all directions. The radiance shone on Dang Hun Mountain. It also enveloped Spectral Soul. Spectral Soul resisted with all his might, but this move was too powerful. The memories related to Dang Hun Mountain were drawn out. They appeared in front of Fairy Myrtle. The young spectral soul found Danghun Mountain for the first time. He was shocked and overjoyed. After many setbacks, spectral soul finally occupied Danghun Mountain and cultivated secretly. Spectral soul thought hard and finally found a way to relocate Danghun Mountain. After a series of setbacks, he finally obtained this mountain. Spectral soul created Soul Path. He gradually found more uses for Danghun Mountain. It was not as simple as harvesting guts GU. He created the Soul Shaking Formation. It could use a vast number of Soul Path Dao marks on Danghun Mountain to increase the power of the Immortal Formation. Since there is a Soul Shaking Immortal Formation, why did Fang Yuan not set it up? Is it because he feels safe in Lang Ya Blessed Land, or does this formation require too many immortal GU? Fairy Myrtle saw this and felt some doubts. But soon, her doubts were resolved. It turned out that once Danghun Mountain became a part of the Immortal Formation, it could not be used to produce guts GU anymore. Fairy Myrtle continued to watch. The scenes related to Danghun Mountain replayed in her mind, scenes of spectral soul's cultivation. Even though most of them were unimportant, many of them contained precious cultivation information. Even for the Celestial Court, they were extraordinary gains. After spectral soul became venerable, he placed Danghun Mountain in City Well. Next, he used an immortal killer move to use City Well to modify Danghun Mountain. This replayed memory made Fairy Myrtle's heart shake. This move, orderly, is so powerful. City Well is a rule path secluded domain of heaven and earth. Using City Well, Danghun Mountain's Soul Path Dao marks could no longer resist Time Path. This is probably the profundity of Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. Fairy Myrtle had already deduced Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. She knew some of its unique uses. After all, Fang Yuan had exposed a lot of valuable clues in battle. She was not wrong at all. Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU could make all Dao marks non-conflicting. The origin was City Well. It was because of this orderly pattern. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable paid a huge price to modify Danghun Mountain, but it was worth it. From now on, Danghun Mountain could use Time Path Immortal Killer moves to easily return to its previous state. The following memories were of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable using Danghun Mountain to deduce many Immortal Killer moves. These Immortal Killer moves were extremely powerful, but they would often damage Danghun Mountain. But every once in a while, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable would use Time Path methods to restore Danghun Mountain to its previous state. These methods are truly amazing. To be able to become a Demon Venerable, his talent is truly shocking. Fairy Myrtle's eyes shined with bright light as she praised. These Immortal Killer moves were precious cultivation content. They were very beneficial to Celestial Court. Especially now that Danghun Mountain was in their hands, these Immortal Killer moves could all be used. Among the many killer moves, there was one that attracted Fairy Myrtle's attention. This move can actually detonate Danghun Mountain and create a terrifying soul explosion. Any living being's soul could detonate and create a soul explosion. Soul Beast soul explosions were often very powerful, but this Danghun Mountain soul explosion surpassed the limit. It could even cause a mountain to detonate. It was purely using these Soul Path Dao marks. It was ingenious. Ah, wait. Fairy Myrtle's pupils shrunk as she realized something amiss. Boom. At the next moment, an earth-shattering explosion occurred. The entire Danghun Mountain exploded into powder. Chapter 1562. Southern Border. Myriad Dragon. Dragon roars resounded. The entire immortal battlefield collapsed. Fang Yuan flew out like a bolt of lightning. Once he escaped, he received a large number of requests for reinforcements. What? Lang Ya Blessed Land was attacked by the Celestial Court? And it was led by Feng Zhouge. Fang Yuan was shocked. He encountered Lu Wei Yin and was temporarily trapped. At the same time, Lang Ya Blessed Land was attacked by the Celestial Court. No one would believe that there was no connection between these two events. Oh! They retreated in defeat. Most of the central continent GU immortals died. Only Feng Zhouge survived. Fang Yuan looked at the land spirit of Langya's message before turning to look at Sixth Hair's letter. Sixth Hair was a spy planted in Lang Ya sect by Shadow Sect. He was on Fang Yuan's side. His information was the most reliable. From Sixth Hair's letter, Fang Yuan quickly understood the entire situation. So Feng Zhouge saw that the situation was not right and retreated. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light, but this was not a place for him to think calmly. The rank 8 GU immortals of Southern Border's righteous path forces might be on their way here. Fang Yuan quickly retreated. Along the way, he used the method that he had left behind to detonate Danghun Mountain. The Celestial Court attacked Lang Ya Blessed Land. They had clearly planned this for a long time. Methods that can uproot a mountain are not common, but Feng Zhouge directly took Danghun Mountain away. This is a deliberate scheme to destroy my foundation. Unfortunately, how can my Danghun Mountain be taken away so easily? Fang Yuan placed Danghun Mountain in Lang Ya Blessed Land. On one hand, it was to express his sincerity in cooperating with Lang Ya sect to manage the Guts GU business and save his energy. On the other hand, Fang Yuan left behind a backup plan. He was not afraid that Lang Ya sect or other GU immortals would take Danghun Mountain for themselves. While flying, Fang Yuan sent his consciousness into his immortal aperture. Landscape as before. He activated a rank 6 immortal GU, aiming at a huge rock that had been preserved. This mountain rock came from Danghun Mountain, a part that Fang Yuan had cut off long ago. Right now, Danghun Mountain's main body had already self-destructed. This mountain rock was the largest remaining Danghun Mountain rock in the world. When Fang Yuan used landscape as before immortal GU, this mountain rock immediately expanded, becoming bigger and bigger as it started to develop into the complete Danghun Mountain. Secluded domains of heaven and earth are like immortal GU, they are unique. Danghun Mountain was remodeled by spectral soul demon Venerable back then. Under the illumination of landscape as before GU, this Danghun Mountain rock will definitely be able to restore the complete Danghun Mountain. Fang Yuan was very confident. Although Danghun Mountain was taken away, he did not lose it. In time, Danghun Mountain would once again return to his hands. However, this process would take a long time. Landscape as before GU was only rank 6, while Danghun Mountain was a secluded domain of heaven and earth that was similar to a rank 9 immortal GU. The Danghun Mountain rock that Fang Yuan took away was much smaller than the entire Danghun Mountain. The Celestial Court had planned for a long time, and Feng Zhouge had personally made a move. Fang Yuan had suffered many losses. Firstly, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was not taken back, and secondly, Danghun Mountain was temporarily destroyed. To recreate Danghun Mountain, it would take some time and a large amount of immortal essence. Finally, Guo Fangjing was taken away, and Fang Yuan's blood deity cultivation plan was thwarted. Fortunately, Wisdom GU was not taken away, nor was it destroyed. The situation at that time was very dangerous. If Feng Zhouge was determined to destroy Wisdom GU, just Wisdom GU alone would not have any hope of survival. But Feng Zhouge did not kill it in the end. This made Fang Yuan rejoice, but he also understood that the Celestial Court's subsequent attacks would not stop. Feng Zhouge took the initiative to retreat. It meant that the Celestial Court would definitely attack again. But when would they attack Lang Ya Blessed Land? Who would the Celestial Court send to attack Lang Ya Blessed Land next time? And what method would they use? These were all questions. Fang Yuan landed in an ordinary valley. Right now, he was far away from the battlefield. He had been very careful on the way here. He should be safe for now. Fang Yuan concealed his aura and set up a GU formation to warn him, before closing his eyes and making deductions. After a while, he opened his eyes. He had already understood the entire situation, as if he had personally experienced the intense battle between Lang Ya sect and Feng Zhouge. I can confirm that fixed immortal travel is in the hands of the Celestial Court, and it seems to have been raised to rank 7. It also has an accompanying immortal killer move. Any changes in Lang Ya Blessed Land could not escape the senses of the land spirit of Langya. The sudden appearance of Feng Zhouge's group was also memorized by the land spirit of Langya. These clues were all sent to Fang Yuan. With sufficient clues and Fang Yuan's wisdom path foundation, Fang Yuan immediately understood how Feng Zhouge managed to infiltrate Lang Ya Blessed Land. To prevent fixed immortal travel, I have already altered Danghun Mountain's appearance, but Feng Zhouge appeared on the 3 continents. This information leak is likely related to the missing hairy man GU immortals. It will take a lot of effort to change the terrain of these 3 continents. Even if we do that, we will not be able to stop the Celestial Court's invasion. If I am not wrong, even though the Celestial Court's GU Immortals did not successfully set up an immortal GU formation, just looking at how Feng Joga retreated so easily, he must have left behind some arrangements in Lang Ya Blessed Land. All sorts of thoughts flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. The Celestial Court did not make a move, but once it did, it was earth-shattering. If not for the fact that Fang Yuan had made many preventive measures in this period of time, Lang Ya Blessed Land, which had lost Refinement Cauldron, might have already been conquered by Feng Joga. Fang Yuan had already done enough, but the Celestial Court's foundation was too deep. Like this time, just by using the methods left behind by the Time Path great expert Liang, Feng Joga's group managed to break in. The Celestial Court was the most difficult opponent to defend against. Because no one knew how many trump cards it had, Fang Yuan sighed before contacting the Land Spirit of Langya. He told the Land Spirit of Langya about his experiences. He also told it about his guess that Lu Wei Yin was likely Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's inheritor. Even though the Land Spirit of Langya was angry that Fang Yuan did not appear at the crucial moment to defend Lang Ya Blessed Land, Fang Yuan was speaking the truth. The Land Spirit of Langya could not pursue the matter. This time, the Celestial Court's attack did not succeed, but they found Wisdom GU, they will definitely come again. Fang Yuan, as Lang Ya Sect's Supreme Elder, Lang Ya Sect needs your battle strength, quickly come back to defend. The Land Spirit of Langya said. Fang Yuan smiled. Of course not. Lang Ya Blessed Land had indeed helped Fang Yuan a lot. It could be considered as Fang Yuan's base, but it was impossible for Fang Yuan to be restricted because of this. Right now, the Celestial Court had the upper hand. As long as they repaired Fate Immortal GU, they would be undefeatable. If Fang Yuan stayed in Lang Ya Blessed Land, the Celestial Court would definitely laugh their heads off. This was what they wanted to see. Fang Yuan stayed in Lang Ya Blessed Land. He had no way out. He had to go out and search for cultivation resources to grow rapidly. Once he grew to a certain extent, Fang Yuan would take out Red Lotus True Inheritance. No matter how much the True Inheritance could help him, he had to destroy the Celestial Court's plan to repair Fate GU within 10 years. Only by doing this would he not die. This was the only way out. Otherwise, when Fate GU was repaired, all the GU immortals in the world would be affected by Fate's arrangements. How many otherworldly demons like Fang Yuan would there be? The Celestial Court would return to its peak. Fang Yuan would not be its match. Even if Lang Ya Blessed Land is attacked and Wisdom GU is destroyed, I will not disrupt my cultivation plan because of Lang Ya Blessed Land. A cold light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. Of course, he would not say these words to the Land Spirit of Langya. Right now, the alliance agreement on Fang Yuan could no longer restrict him. During this period of time, the self-cleansing immortal formation was not just for show. Let's talk about the compensation. Fang Yuan said to the Land Spirit of Langya after some perfunctory words. The Land Spirit of Langya's expression sank. Back then, he had made an agreement with Fang Yuan. If Dang Hun Mountain and Wisdom GU were lost or destroyed, they would be compensated at 10 times the value. Wisdom GU was not destroyed. The Land Spirit of Langya let out a sigh of relief. But Dang Hun Mountain, at least, it was lost now. Do you know that if the Celestial Court obtains Dang Hun Mountain, they would have an endless supply of Guts GU, it would be a huge help to them. Fang Yuan saw that the Land Spirit of Langya was silent. He exerted pressure. Don't talk about this. I will compensate you, don't worry. The Land Spirit of Langya replied. I believe you. How can First Supreme Elder be a dishonest person? Fang Yuan chuckled. What kind of compensation do you want? The Land Spirit of Langya asked. Chapter 1563. Dang Hun Mountain was a secluded domain of heaven and earth. It was the only one in the 5 regions. Dang Hun Mountain produced Guts GU. It was a monopoly trade. As long as there were enough souls, it was an inexhaustible gold mine. The value of this was huge, multiplied by 10 times. It was the price that Land Spirit of Langya had to compensate Fang Yuan. If it was an ordinary blessed land or even a grotto heaven, This compensation might not even be enough even if they sacrificed themselves. But for Lang Ya Blessed Land, it had the ability to pay back. Back then, when Fang Yuan and Land Spirit of Langya agreed on this compensation agreement, how could Fang Yuan not consider this? There was no doubt that Lang Ya Blessed Land was the #1 blessed land in the 5 regions, especially after Imperial Court Blessed Land was destroyed. Its foundation was extremely deep, it had the ability to compensate, Fang Yuan had no doubt about this. Putting everything aside, Fang Yuan first mentioned Wisdom Gu to Land Spirit of Langya. I need to move Wisdom Gu into my immortal aperture. So the first compensation is the method to move Wisdom Gu. This method was the core of Lang Ya sect's inheritance. Fang Yuan had always wanted it, but even when they exchanged true inheritances, he did not succeed. Land Spirit of Langya firmly held onto this method. He was not stupid. If he gave this method to Fang Yuan, wouldn't that mean that Fang Yuan could take Wisdom Gu away himself? Although Wisdom Gu was wild, it did not belong to Lang Ya sect. Back then, Lang Ya Blessed Land's Herriman Gu immortals came to Hu Immortal Blessed Land and brought Wisdom Gu. Land Spirit of Langya's expression changed. Fang Yuan's request was like a sharp sword, stabbing at Land Spirit of Langya's heart, making Land Spirit of Langya have no choice but to agree. Land Spirit of Langya's scheme was to use Lifespan Gu to feed Wisdom Gu, attempting to control Wisdom Gu. Thus, he was willing to pay Lifespan Gu to help Fang Yuan raise Wisdom Gu. Unfortunately, even now, Land Spirit of Langya had not achieved his wish. This method did not seem to work. Fang Yuan's request now was the same as asking for Wisdom Gu again. This way, the Land Spirit of Langya's previous efforts would all be for naught, and Fang Yuan would have worked hard. Of course, he was unwilling, but he couldn't bring himself to oppose it clearly. After all, Wisdom Gu might be a wild immortal Gu, but it was taken from Fang Yuan's blessed land by the Herriman Gu immortals. Therefore, the Land Spirit of Langya said hesitantly, "Is this okay? Actually, if we can control Wisdom Gu, we can use it as the core to construct the immortal Gu house secluded residence. With this house, not only can I protect myself, but I can also guard against the schemes of almost everyone in the world." Fang Yuan smiled and said, "Supreme First Elder, although your plan is good, it is very difficult to realize. Are you confident that you can realize it as soon as possible?" The Land Spirit of Langya was at a loss for words. Fang Yuan continued, "The situation is dangerous now, it is not good for you to conceal Wisdom Gu. Foam Joga found Wisdom Gu. Foam Joga's discovery represents that Celestial Court has also discovered it. They will not let this matter rest. They will definitely invade Lang Ya Blessed Land again. By then, what if they take Wisdom Gu away?" The Land Spirit of Langya sighed deeply. Fang Yuan was speaking the truth. Secluded residence was only a castle in the air. The Celestial Court was attacking now. Actually, the Land Spirit of Langya had already tried his best to conceal Wisdom Gu, but Foam Joga's investigative methods were extremely sharp. They were discovered by the latter in the end. Wisdom Gu was once star constellation Immortal Venerable's possession. Now that it was discovered, it was obvious that Celestial Court would place great importance on this place. The next invasion would definitely be a fierce one. It would be a huge threat. Fang Yuan's words were reasonable, but he was truly unwilling to let the Land Spirit of Langya give up on his plan. At this time, Fang Yuan said again, "First Supreme Elder, secluded residence is good, but it has its disadvantages too. If Lang Ya Blessed Land was truly turned into a paradise, a place where no one would care about, would the Herriman Gu immortals still have the motivation to cultivate? We want to create Herriman dominance. If these Herriman Gu immortals live under the protection of secluded residence, wouldn't they return to their previous state?" The Land Spirit of Langya was stunned. Fang Yuan's words made sense. What Herriman Gu immortals lacked was a sense of danger. The previous Land Spirit of Langya protected the hairy men too well. These Gu immortals did not have the ability to fight at all. As a result, when Shadow Sect invaded, they were almost conquered by Shadow Sect. They could not return to their previous state. The Land Spirit of Langya breathed in deeply, nodding heavily. "Fang Yuan, I agree to your request. I will give you this method in its entirety. 10 Dang Hun mountains as compensation. This method is worth half a mountain. Alright. Fang Yuan did not doubt the price of the land spirit of Langya. The land spirit of Langya would not lie. Negotiating with him was very beneficial to Fang Yuan. Next, I need some lifespan GU. Fang Yuan raised his second request. If he moved wisdom GU into the sovereign immortal aperture, he would no doubt have to bear the burden of feeding it. Even though Fang Yuan had lifespan GU, it was not safe to rely on them. Alright. The land spirit of Langya agreed readily this time. He was the land spirit. As long as Lang Ya blessed land existed, he could exist with it, thus he had no need for lifespan GU. Of course, the hairy man GU immortals in Lang Ya sect also needed lifespan GU to extend their lifespan. However, hairy men were variant humans, their lifespan was much longer than humans. Secondly, feeding wisdom GU was more important than extending the lifespan of the hairy man GU immortals. Thus, Fang Yuan used 1.5 Dang Hun mountain as compensation to obtain a large amount of lifespan GU in Lang Ya blessed land. Long hair ancestor was a person from 300,000 years ago. Lang Ya blessed land had a long history. After 300,000 years, it had obtained a large amount of lifespan GU. In this compensation, even though Fang Yuan took away most of the lifespan GU, Lang Ya blessed land still had some left. Fang Yuan calculated, this way, if he used all the lifespan GU he had on himself, he could extend his lifespan to over 4,000 years. Red Lotus Demon Venerable had only lived for over 3,000 years. This also meant that if Fang Yuan used all these lifespan GU, he could live longer than Red Lotus Demon Venerable. Of course, the prerequisite was that he would not be killed by external forces during this period of time. And if these lifespan GU were used to feed wisdom GU, they could last for a long time. However, Red Lotus Demon Venerable had the shortest lifespan among all the Venerables. Limitless Demon Venerable and Reckless Savage Demon Venerable had lived for over 6,000 years, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was over 7,000 years old, while Giant Sun Immortal had lived for over 8,000 years. The three who lived the longest were all in Celestial Court. Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable was over 12,000 years old, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was 19,000 years old, while Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable was over 25,000 years old. He was the first Immortal Venerable in human history, and also the person who lived the longest among all the Venerables. Immortal and Demon Venerables have lived for a long time, but in history, there were also many rank 8 and rank 7 GU Immortals who lived for a long time, reaching thousands of years. There was no lack of Immortal and Demon Venerables as well. But now that the 5 regions chaotic war is approaching, the Great Era is about to begin. In this era, lifespan GU will become fewer and fewer. Especially when Great Dream Immortal Venerable becomes rank 9, lifespan GU will become extremely rare, heaven and earth will no longer produce them, until there are no more lifespan GU left. Fang Yuan thought to himself, the lifespan GU in his hands were extremely valuable, and as the era progressed, their value would continue to rise. According to historical records, many great experts and old monsters were willing to pay any price to extend their lifespan and live for a few more days. Lifespan GU was only immortal GU, but there were many examples in history where lifespan GU were exchanged for immortal GU. The compensation that Fang Yuan wanted now was based on land spirit of Langya. It was based on the current value of lifespan GU. This undoubtedly gave Fang Yuan a huge advantage. Of course, if his Dang Hun mountain developed well, its prospects would be very good. After settling on the compensation of lifespan GU, Fang Yuan used 1 Dang Hun mountain to exchange for a large number of Lang Ya sect contribution points, as well as Beast Enslavement Immortal GU. Fang Yuan had used Beast Enslavement Immortal GU several times before. It was very useful. As for Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, Fang Yuan did not need to think to know that Land Spirit of Langya would not give away this immortal GU. This way, out of the 10 Dang Hun mountain compensation, only 7 remained. Fang Yuan was prepared to make a big move this time. I want to use 7 Dang Hun mountain compensation to exchange for something in my sect. Fang Yuan said to Land Spirit of Langya. Land Spirit of Langya immediately became nervous. It shuddered and asked, "Oh? What do you want to change?" Chapter 1564. In exchange for what? Fang Yuan smiled lightly, continuing, naturally refinement path true meaning. Ah. You actually knew that my sect had refinement path true meaning? Land Spirit of Langya almost jumped in shock. This was Lang Ya sect's greatest secret. It was also the deepest and most valuable treasure in their treasury. What was true meaning? True meaning was actually a type of will. Wisdom path had three elements: thoughts, wills, and emotions. True meaning was the will of the three elements. Of course, not just true meaning, there were also fake will, special will, intentional will, deliberate will, hostile will, battle will, and so on. There were countless wills, but true meaning was the most valuable among them. It was also the most attractive. It could even make Venerable's chase after it endlessly. The northern icy plane of northern plains was created by reckless savage demon Venerable back then. It contained reckless savage's true meaning. Thus, when masters undergo immortal ascension in the northern icy plane, they would draw out reckless savage's true meaning. When immortals obtain this true meaning, their transformation path or strength path attainment levels would rise. Dream realms also contained true meaning plus 3 true meaning. The reason why Fang Yuan could raise his attainment levels of all paths in the dream realms he explored was because he had absorbed the true meaning within them. Thus, true meaning often meant that one's attainment level would rise. Why was the chaos of the 5 regions the unprecedented and most magnificent era? The root reason was because dream realms appeared all over the world, allowing many people who successfully explored them to obtain the true meaning within, causing their attainment levels to rise. The accumulation of attainment levels often required a long period of time. But because of true meaning, this process was greatly shortened. This allowed elites and geniuses to surge out from all over the world, competing and killing each other, creating an unprecedented chaotic whirl. The importance of true meaning went without saying, but the true meaning hidden in the deepest part of Lang Ya sect had an even greater origin. Thus, the true meaning originated from Long Hair Ancestor. Who was Long Hair Ancestor? A rank 8 refinement path great expert, known as the number 1 refinement path immortal since ancient times. In the long history of humanity, spanning over 10 million years, in this long river of time, there were 3 peak experts in refinement path. They were Old Eccentric Tian Nan, Old Immortal Kong Ju, and Long Hair Ancestor. Long Hair Ancestor's skill in refinement path was something that even thieving heaven demon Venerable and giant sun Immortal Venerable had to admit defeat. The two Venerables had asked Long Hair Ancestor to refine GU for them. Later generations had calculated that Long Hair Ancestor had refined at least 38 immortal GU in his life. And this was just a summary of historical events, not including the legends and stories. If unofficial records and rumors were included, the number of immortal GU was enough to surpass 100. More terrifyingly, most of these immortal GU were not rank 6, they were rank 7 or rank 8, high-level immortal GU. Lang Ya sect's refinement path intent was the intent left behind by Long Hair Ancestor. It was perfectly preserved. If Fang Yuan obtained it and absorbed all of it, his refinement path attainment level would immediately soar to quasi-supreme Grandmaster. This was equivalent to reaching the heavens in a single step, an ant growing into a prehistoric giant beast in an instant. It was like a starving beggar suddenly becoming the richest man in the country. It was such a concept. The reason why the word quasi was added was because Supreme Grandmaster level required one to surpass the foundation of the entire world in this path, to create a complete innovation from nothing. Fang Yuan naturally could not do this. If he obtained this refinement path true meaning, he would only be inheriting Long Hair Ancestor's entire attainment level. He would not be able to improve on this foundation and surpass the refinement path foundation of the entire world. Fang Yuan did not have extravagant hopes of becoming a Supreme Grandmaster. In his opinion, this title was more of a supreme glory. Quasi-supreme was enough for Fang Yuan to look down on all the refinement path GU immortals in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. As long as he obtained this true meaning, he would go from a small hill to the highest peak. GU were the essence of heaven and earth, while man was the spirit of all living beings. There was no strongest GU worm in the world, only the strongest GU immortal. And what did GU immortals mean to be the strongest? Attainment level was definitely one of the most important criteria. With quasi-supreme Grandmaster refinement path attainment, it was equivalent to having a transcendent height and the most solid foundation. Everything else could be attached to it. Using the compensation of 7 Dang Hun mountains to exchange for a will? Wouldn't Fang Yuan suffer a loss? Of course not. No matter how many Dang Hun mountains there were, it only represented a large amount of cultivation resources. And among the numerous cultivation resources, what was the most precious? Attainment level was definitely the answer most people would give. You want the refinement path true meaning left behind by my main body after my death? Impossible. Land Spirit of Langya flatly refused. Fang Yuan was already mentally prepared for Land Spirit of Langya's attitude. He smiled. First Supreme Elder, our Lang Ya sect has stored this will for over 300,000 years. This true meaning has always been stored and has not been used. What difference is there between it and a dead object? Don't tell me you want to leave this refinement path true meaning to the current hairy man GU immortals? Land Spirit of Langya quickly shook his head. Ever since Lang Ya Blessed Land was created, the previous Land Spirit has been testing it, but these hairy man GU immortals are not qualified. Then give it to me. Fang Yuan immediately said. You are even less qualified. Land Spirit of Langya said directly with a firm attitude. Fang Yuan let out a silent smile. Right now, this Land Spirit of Langya that he was dealing with had the ideology of hairy democracy. He firmly believed that hairy men were superior to humans, hairy men should rule the world and humans should rely on hairy men to survive. Land Spirit of Langya did not even care about those hairy man GU immortals, much less Fang Yuan who was a human. Long hair true meaning is the supreme treasure of my hairy man tribe, no matter how useless it is, even if my hairy man GU masters benefit from it, I cannot let a human like you enjoy it. Land Spirit of Langya's thoughts were roughly similar to this. Fang Yuan breathed in deeply. The following persuasion would be crucial. He had already thought it through. He solemnly said to Land Spirit of Langya, First Supreme Elder, it is not like you do not understand the current situation. It is very dangerous. If the Celestial Court fails once, they will attack a second time, a third time. Until they succeed or fail completely, the Celestial Court will not give up. I understand this. Land Spirit of Langya said in a heavy tone. If I have this refinement path true meaning, my strength will rise by a lot. I will be more confident in helping Lang Ya sect resist the Celestial Court. Lang Ya sect has helped me so much. This is my home. I will not watch the Celestial Court destroy it. If I become a refinement path quasi-supreme Grandmaster, I will be able to refine immortal GU and modify the super formation in Lang Ya Blessed Land. You also know that I inherited the inheritance of Shadow Sect. There is a lot of information regarding the Celestial Court and Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects. Earlier, we only exchanged true inheritances. This time, I will share all of this information with you. I have already deduced that Feng Joga and the rest used Fixed Immortal Travel's killer move to invade the Blessed Land. After we agree on the compensation, I will use Wisdom GU to think of a way to defend against Fixed Immortal Travel. Other than that, don't forget that I have some subordinates. You know about these GU immortals, they are all battle elites. Land Spirit of Langya was silent. Fang Yuan's words were very reasonable. It did not matter during peaceful times. But in this current situation, the Celestial Court was eyeing the Blessed Land. They did not know when the next attack would come. Land Spirit of Langya was not ignorant. The more he understood about the Celestial Court, the greater the pressure he felt. Even though Lang Ya sect had an ancient battle formation like Heavenly Giant Solar that could match rank 8 GU immortals, the battle with Feng Joga earlier had already exposed the flaws of this method. Lang Ya sect needed more help. The Snowmen, Inkmen, and Rockmen could also send out a rank 8 battle strength. The strongest battle strength was still Fang Yuan's side. Land Spirit of Langya already knew that Fang Yuan, who had reverse flow protection seal, was the strongest battle strength among them. Land Spirit of Langya and Lang Ya Blessed Land needed Fang Yuan's strength in the future. Oh Fang Yuan, if you need to refine GU, I will do it myself. Don't forget the other Supreme Elders, everyone can help you. Land Spirit of Langya was silent for a while before saying. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. Your strength cannot be underestimated. I have already experienced this when I asked you to refine GU earlier. But can everyone's refinement path abilities be compared to quasi-supreme beings? Of course not. Furthermore, using others to refine GU and refining GU yourself, there is a huge difference, isn't that so? Land Spirit of Langya fell silent again. These were all true reasons. They were placed in front of Land Spirit of Langya. Even if he wanted to deny it, he could not. But just with reason, he could not convince Land Spirit of Langya. Fang Yuan knew that he needed to use emotions. Supreme First Elder, the communication between you and me has always been a heart-to-heart. Don't you know my current situation? Don't you understand my current feelings? After I escaped, I saw the news of Lang Ya Blessed Land being attacked. I was really anxious. It was like a fire was burning in my heart. I wanted nothing more than to rush back immediately. Lang Ya sect is my home. In this huge world, only this place can accommodate me. Although I am a human, I am more willing to be a hairy man. Unfortunately, heaven is playing tricks on me. I was born a human and not a noble hairy man. But I am willing to become a hairy man forever in the future. I am more willing to live in Lang Ya Blessed Land forever and marry Shuer in the future. We will unite the other variant humans and assist you in achieving the hegemony of the hairy men in the world. Fang Yuan spoke very passionately. He had goosebumps all over his body. Land Spirit of Langya heaved a long sigh. Oh Fang Yuan, I understand your intentions. I have understood it long ago. But this matter is very important. I need to think about it carefully and think deeply. Right now, I am unable to make this decision. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with brilliance. In this situation, he could not let Land Spirit of Langya think too much. The more he thought, the smaller Fang Yuan's hope became. Thus, Fang Yuan said, First Supreme Elder, you should think about it. It is definitely right. No matter how long you think, I will wait for your reply. During this period, I will keep an eye on the Celestial Court. I will try my best to gather information. If they have any suspicious movements, I will report to you. These words made Land Spirit of Langya make a decision. He sighed bitterly. The situation is dangerous. If I still keep the true meaning, I am afraid I cannot even protect Lang Ya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan, you are one of us. I can trust you. Honestly speaking, if you were a hairy man, I would have already handed the entire Lang Ya sect to you. This refinement path true meaning. I will leave it to you. I won't let you down. Chapter 1565. Central Continent, Celestial Court. Huff, huff, huff. Fairy Myrtle stood on the spot. Her pupils shrunk to the size of needles as she breathed roughly. Her expression was still filled with fear. It did not fade. Around her, there was a huge empty space. The Grand Rank 8 Immortal GU House Soul Suppression Hall had completely vanished. Danghun Mountain was a secluded domain of heaven and earth. It had a vast number of Dao marks. It was comparable to a Rank 9 Immortal GU. Once it self-detonated, the power that erupted was terrifying to an unimaginable level. The pitiful Soul Suppression Hall had no time to react. The explosion happened from within. It became a victim of Danghun Mountain's explosion. Fairy Myrtle was completely unharmed. Around her, starlight specks flickered. They were dazzling. It was as if she was wearing a thin veil made of stardust. This was Immortal GU House Star Constellation Chessboard, an Immortal GU House created by Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. If not for Star Constellation Chessboard's protection, even if I did not die, I would have been heavily injured. Fairy Myrtle barely calmed down as she squinted her eyes. Her expression was grim. Danghun Mountain was actually affected. I inspected it several times but did not find anything. I'm afraid this is Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's doing. In order to deal with Shadow Sect, I had already gained a rough understanding of Celestial Court's soul path inheritance. But I still fell for it and was schemed against by Fang Yuan. It can be seen that our Celestial Court's soul path foundation is still inferior to Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. And Star Constellation Chessboard is also greatly damaged. Even though Fairy Myrtle was not injured, thinking of the danger and losses this time, she wanted to vomit blood. She shifted her gaze and looked straight ahead. In front of her, there was a lump of dense black shadow. It was extremely deep. It was like a deep pool, it was accumulating here and was emitting black light. Spectral soul demon Venerable. Fairy Myrtle gritted her teeth in hatred. This time, Dang Hun Mountain's soul explosion did not harm spectral soul, it was a blessing in disguise. A vast number of soul path Dao marks were hidden inside to nourish his body. Dang Hun Mountain's soul explosion technique was originally created by him. After the soul explosion, Soul Suppression Hall was destroyed, spectral soul gained temporary freedom. He did not run away blindly. Instead, he used this huge opportunity to hide himself in the sea of soul path Dao marks. In this way, who knew how long it would take for the Celestial Court to search his soul? Originally, the Soul Suppressing Hall shouldered the heavy responsibility of searching souls, but now, the Soul Suppressing Hall was gone, completely destroyed. Spectral Soul made use of this temporary terrain advantage to recover. "Chimph, you can try your best." Fairy Myrtle sneered. As long as he was in this celestial court, Spectral Soul was trapped, he could not escape. Spectral Soul's outcome would not change. However, it was quite troublesome for the celestial court to remove these soul path Dao marks. At the very least, it would take a long time. Inside the dark whirlpool that was as deep as a pool, no sound could be heard, Spectral Soul remained silent. Fairy Myrtle's anger intensified. But right at this time, there was a thunderous sound as bolts of lightning illuminated the area around the celestial court. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. This is a phenomenon from the immortal graveyard. Back then, when Duke Long woke up, the whole of the celestial court was shaken. I wonder which wise sage has awakened this time. Fairy Myrtle looked up and saw this, she was shocked before becoming joyful. Rumble. With a final loud sound, dozens of bolts of lightning in the sky gathered into a lump. The deep blue lightning suddenly exploded, and a figure jumped out of the lightning ball. The figure was extremely fast, he flew to Fairy Myrtle almost instantly, floating in the air. So my senses were not wrong. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, you were really captured. Ha ha ha. This GU immortal who had just woken up laughed loudly. Fairy Myrtle looked carefully and saw that this person had the appearance of a young girl, she was wearing pitch-black armor, the armor was sinister and flamboyant, the edges were pointed up and lightning was flickering on it. On the chest of the armor, there was a dark blue giant ghost head with a bloody mouth. And her helmet also resembled a ghost, it was a clear contrast to the young girl's delicate and cute appearance. The immortal graveyard was unfathomable, even Fairy Myrtle did not know how many great experts were hibernating inside. But she knew the origin of this person in front of her. Immediately, Fairy Myrtle bowed, Junior Ziwei pays respects to predecessor Thunder Ghost True Monarch. Oh! What day is this? Someone still remembers my, Jing Lan's, title? The black-armored girl was slightly surprised, her gaze moved from the dark whirlpool to Fairy Ziwei. Fairy Myrtle was inwardly excited, this Jing Lan was a great expert selected by Black Heaven Temple, she cultivated two paths, one was Lightning Path, the other was Soul Path, the two paths did not conflict with each other. Her method of non-conflict was her own creation. Only the Thunder Dao and Soul Dao could do this. She was a very active GU immortal during Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's era, she was extremely proficient in battle and was a capable general of the Celestial Court in resisting Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. She had once caused great trouble to Spectral Soul, but after Spectral Soul became venerable, he slaughtered the world, nobody could stop him, Jing Lan could only quietly die and hibernate in the immortal graveyard. Thinking about it, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had the highest killing nature, but Jing Lan was actually able to keep her life, this showed how strong her methods were. Senior has great experience in dealing with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, Ziwei would like to ask, how should we deal with the current situation? After conversing for a while, Fairy Myrtle bowed and asked. Jing Lan narrowed her eyes, snorting coldly, if I had all my immortal GU, I could use 33 heavens to break this tortoise shell. When a GU immortal hibernated, almost all of their immortal GU would be handed over, except for a few exceptions. After all, these immortal GU needed to be carefully cared for and fed by the GU immortal. Fairy Myrtle closed her eyes and inspected the information path GU worms in her phantom aperture, revealing a troubled expression. What is it? Jing Lan asked. Some of the immortal GU Senior left behind have been destroyed due to various reasons. Fairy Myrtle answered. They are used in the righteous path of the celestial court. If they are destroyed, then so be it. This is also making the best use of them. Jinglan smiled, unconcerned, before asking, how many are left? Fairy Myrtle answered in detail. Jinglan slightly frowned. 3 core immortal GU are missing, many methods cannot be used. If I were to deal with Spectral Soul, I would need at least 3 months to solve this problem. Fairy Myrtle was a little disappointed. With her methods and the help of Star Constellation Chessboard, she would only need over 2 months to solve this problem and capture Spectral Soul again. How about this? Although Spectral Soul has been captured and brought to the Celestial Court, his inheritor is very active. The explosion of Danghun Mountain this time was also the work of this inheritor. Fairy Myrtle said. Demonic path scoundrel, everyone has the right to punish him. You are saying this, you want me to get rid of Spectral Soul's inheritor? Quickly tell me, where is this inheritor? I want to pull out his tendons and skin him alive. I will cut off his head and send it to Spectral Soul for him to admire. Ha ha ha. Jinglan laughed loudly, her battle intent surging. With Senior taking action, that Fang Yuan will definitely be doomed. As for his location, Fairy Myrtle smiled confidently. Senior only needs to wait for a moment, Junior will deduce it for you. Chapter 1566. Connecting Heaven GU. Land Spirit of Langya communicated with Jewel Yellow Skies, quickly completing an immortal GU transaction with Fang Yuan. The two exchanged quickly, in a few blinks of an eye, they succeeded and retreated. This is perceivable Dao immortal GU. Land Spirit of Langya assessed the immortal GU in his hand. This GU had a round head and tail, it was pitch black and had many segments. Land Spirit of Langya activated, perceivable Dao immortal GU started to shine with faint starlight. After a while, Land Spirit of Langya's expression turned ugly. There was indeed a hidden arrangement. Using perceivable Dao immortal GU, Land Spirit of Langya found that many Dao marks had appeared in the blessed land. These Dao marks interweaved and formed a mystical effect. Feng Joga's group had attacked Lang Ya blessed land, they had secretly set up this trap. Fang Yuan had once been hit by Fairy Myrtle's inextinguishable star target, he had learned from his mistakes. Adding on that Feng Joga retreated so decisively, Fang Yuan deduced that they had definitely left behind some hidden arrangements for the next invasion. Fang Yuan was right, it seems we need to clear these Dao marks. Next, we will wait for him to return and relocate Lang Ya blessed land together. Land Spirit of Langya muttered. Although Feng Joga's group had used fixed immortal travel to invade Lang Ya blessed land, after this battle, Lang Ya blessed land's current location was no longer safe. Such a decision was definitely safe and wise. Because Prince's impatience had not left, if Land Spirit of Langya blindly relocated the blessed land, there would be a huge commotion and his true location would be exposed. Intense winds blew, Fang Yuan was like a sharp arrow, piercing through the sky, leaving the white clouds behind him. This time, he wanted to capture the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle again, but he encountered Lu Wei Yin and his plan failed. But it was not like he did not gain anything. In this aspect, he had to thank the Celestial Court. If not for this external pressure, the Land Spirit of Langya would definitely not hand over the refinement path true meaning to Fang Yuan. Even so, it took Fang Yuan a lot of effort to convince the Land Spirit of Langya. After the two finished communicating, Fang Yuan immediately set off, returning to Lang Ya blessed land to collect Wisdom GU and Refinement Path true meaning. It was best if Wisdom GU was not transported through Jewel Yellow Skies, the influence of this rank 9 GU would be huge. Even though the Celestial Court already knew about Wisdom GU, but the Celestial Court's knowledge and the world's knowledge were two different concepts. As for Refinement Path true meaning, although the Land Spirit of Langya agreed to give it to Fang Yuan, he requested that Fang Yuan had to hand it over in Lang Ya blessed land and not through Jewel Yellow Skies. The Land Spirit of Langya also knew the danger of moving Lang Ya blessed land, and this time, he was facing the Celestial Court, so he was under huge pressure. Not only did he want Fang Yuan to return, He was also negotiating with the Rockman tribe, wanting to borrow their rank 8 battle strength immemorial rock dragon to guard Lang Ya blessed land. When I return, not only will I retrieve wisdom GU and obtain refinement path true meaning, I will also need to borrow the light of wisdom to break the immortal killer move Feng Joga used to invade Lang Ya blessed land, and also repair the super immortal formation. Also, I was trapped by Lu Wei Yin's method, but I had some comprehensions. Especially in the third dream. Maybe I can use the light of wisdom to perfect these comprehensions. Thinking of Lu Wei Yin, Fang Yuan's gaze flickered. He was almost certain that Lu Wei Yin was Paradise Earth's inheritor. To deal with him, it was not something Fang Yuan could do now. In fact, Fang Yuan only had rank 7 cultivation level, against rank 8 GU immortals. His greatest reliance was reverse flow protection seal. Most of his other methods were not outstanding. Suddenly, Fang Yuan's expression changed. He felt Ghost Official Garment was shrinking rapidly. It was like a candle flickering in the wind and rain. Oh no, someone is deducing my location. Such an amazing wisdom path method. It must be the work of a wisdom path rank 8 great expert. Fang Yuan quickly activated Immortal Killer move Yama. At the next moment, his whole body changed. Ghost Official Garment and Ghostly Concealment were connected. Ghost Official Garment was only a rank 7 Immortal Killer move, but after being connected with rank 9 Killer move Ghostly Concealment, it could borrow some of the power of rank 9. This time, it was Fairy Myrtle's turn in Celestial Court to show a surprised expression. She had been very confident, but suddenly, the difficulty of deducing Fang Yuan's location increased by countless times. How can this be? Fairy Myrtle frowned. What is it? Is there a problem? Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jing Lan asked. There is some trouble. I have Fang Yuan's Dark Limit Immortal GU and Gua Fangjing. These are all crucial clues, but I still cannot deduce Fang Yuan's location. Fairy Myrtle smiled. It is a pity. If it were before, I would have to return in failure. But this time, he detonated Dang Hun Mountain. Even though the cause was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he was also involved and caused damage to Star Constellation chessboard. I can definitely deduce him now. Saying so, Fairy Myrtle's fingers moved. A translucent ripple appeared beside her as a rank 8 GU immortal walked out of the ripple. Lady Zi Wei, what can I do for you? This person was Chen Yi. He was supposed to reinforce Feng Joga and the rest, but after Feng Joga returned, his mission was abandoned and he was summoned back to Celestial Court by Fairy Myrtle. Come, use your Karma Divine Tree Killer move. I want to use your strength to deduce Fang Yuan's location. Fairy Myrtle ordered. Chen Yi bowed and answered, immediately activating Karma Divine Tree. Using this legendary killer move, Fairy Myrtle activated Star Constellation chessboard and finally broke through, deducing Fang Yuan's exact location. Oh no! The moment Fang Yuan's location was deduced, Yama self-detonated, exposing his true body. The connection between Ghostly Concealment and Ghost Official Garment collapsed. Ghostly Concealment was unharmed, but Ghost Official Garment was almost destroyed. Chapter 1567. Genius in 1 second. Remember Love Go? TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. To be able to forcefully destroy my Yama, and also after Lang Ya blessed land was attacked, it was most likely the Celestial Court who took action. At that instant, thoughts moved rapidly in Fang Yuan's mind. Gua Fangjing was taken away. He has a blood connection with my Time Path clone, but the clone is inside my Sovereign Immortal Aperture. I don't think we can use this clue. My Dark Limit Immortal GU was in the hands of the Celestial Court. This clue is very important, but just this alone is not enough to destroy my Yama. Then, what method did the Celestial Court use? What crucial clues did they find that are related to me? Fang Yuan thought as he rapidly moved. Now that his location was exposed, staying at the same place was definitely the worst plan. The urgent matter now was to keep moving. At the same time, he had to repair Ghostly Concealment and think of a way to solve the current problem. Crack. Fang Yuan flew for 4 to 6 hours, when suddenly, a thunderbolt burst out from the clear sky. The thunderbolt directly targeted Fang Yuan, fiercely striking down. Fang Yuan was already prepared. He quickly dodged. With a loud sound, the thunderbolt hit the ground, the lightning solidified and turned into a human figure. The figure quickly became clear. Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jinglan was wearing a sinister black armor, half squatting on the ground. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Countless tiny bolts of lightning coiled around her armor. The crater created by the explosion had already been completely roasted into a lump of charcoal. Because of the high temperature, white smoke was rising in spirals. Jinglan slowly stood up. She originally had a petite figure, but after wearing the armor, she became over 10 feet tall. Her body was tall and sturdy. Boom! Her rank 8 aura swept out like a majestic mountain. She slowly raised her head, looking at Fang Yuan in the air, saying coldly, "You are Fang Yuan? Where do you think you can run to?" A central continent rank 8 GU immortal. Furthermore, looking at this situation, he is likely someone from the celestial court. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, his alertness rose to the highest. Love go small say netk. Immortal killer move myriad self. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. Facing an unfamiliar enemy in front of him, he brazenly attacked. In an instant, countless Fang Yuans spread across the sky. In Jinglan's blink of an eye, the originally clear and cloudless sky was filled with a sea of Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms. With a hula sound, the army rushed towards Jinglan like a tsunami that shook the heavens. Jinglan closed her eyes and then abruptly opened them. Her originally black eyes had turned a deep blue. Endless electric arcs were like vortexes that constantly rotated in her pupils. She scanned her surroundings but did not find Fang Yuan's true body. Familiar face, humph. Jinglan coldly snorted in displeasure and suddenly opened her mouth. Ah! She roared and thunder rumbled. The sound waves carried waves of blue electric arcs that rapidly spread in all directions with her as the center. Wherever they went, Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms could not even resist for a breath of time before shattering and collapsing. With one move, the clear and boundless sky appeared once again. Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms were completely destroyed, leaving only his true body behind. Lightning path rank 8. Why do I sense the aura of soul path from her? Fang Yuan frowned slightly. He was not shocked by the destruction of Myriad Self. Myriad Self was originally a probing move. Against a rank 8 GU Immortal's killer move, no matter how many Myriad Self there were, it would be difficult to have any effect. Immortal killer move Ignited Thought Flying Rock. Immortal killer move Purple Thought Perception Starlight. Fang Yuan pushed with both palms and immediately, countless meteors with long flaming tails smashed towards Jinglan who was on the ground. After completing this move, he clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly threw out countless dazzling and translucent purple starlight. Jinglan's lightning eyes first saw the ignited thought flying rocks and immediately showed disdain, but when she saw the purple thought perception starlight, her pupils slightly shrunk. This killer move is superb, I need to avoid it. Jinglan's thoughts moved and with a crack, her body turned into a flash of lightning that shot towards Fang Yuan. Quick, quick, quick. Her speed was so fast that even Fang Yuan showed a shocked expression. Moreover, the lightning was extremely agile and did not just charge around blindly. Along the way, when it encountered the ignited thought flying rocks, it would all be knocked away, but when it encountered the purple thought perception starlight, it would directly dodge and move unhindered. Fang Yuan's offense was majestic, but Jinglan was unstoppable. After turning several times in the air, she arrived in front of Fang Yuan. Come at me. Fang Yuan inwardly gritted his teeth and suddenly turned into an ancient sword dragon, fiercely grabbing at Jinglan with his sharp claws. Jinglan's armor was huge and heavy, but compared to Fang Yuan's sword dragon transformation, it seemed a bit pocket-sized. But she was extremely fierce. With a low growl, she did not dodge and directly used the sharp horn on her helmet to collide with the dragon claw. Boom! With a loud sound, both sides were fiercely bounced back. Fang Yuan's claws were soft and limp, feeling numb from the recoil. Meanwhile, all the sharp horns on Jinglan's armor were broken and her helmet was covered in cracks. At the same time, she felt a slight sense of dizziness. This is reverse flow protection seal. Jinglan was well aware of this. She had set out from the celestial court and had naturally obtained detailed information about Fang Yuan provided by Fairy Myrtle. Therefore, Jinglan was not surprised by this situation. Everything was within her expectations. She laughed and shot forward again, lightning radiance erupting around her body as she charged at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan fought her without any fear. Both sides fought back and forth in the air, fighting until the sun and moon lost their light and the world changed colors. Fang Yuan relied on reverse flow protection seal to fight evenly with Jinglan, but he retreated as he moved. This person clearly knows about the countercurrent protection seal. That's why he's using such a powerful technique. Not only does he force me to use the countercurrent protection seal to block the attack, but he also doesn't let the rebound attack harm him. Fang Yuan had a bad feeling. Although Jinglan could not do anything to Fang Yuan, this situation was only temporary. There was definitely a wisdom path great expert behind her that was closely watching the battle and constantly analyzing Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal was constantly being analyzed and deduced. Once it reached a certain level, a killer move that could counter reverse flow protection seal would be deduced. With such a killer move, after breaking reverse flow protection seal, Fang Yuan's doomsday would arrive. This person is constantly changing methods to probe my reverse flow protection seal. His intentions are clear. She cultivates both Thunder Path and Soul Path. Her Thunder Path attacks are extremely fast and powerful, while her Soul Path condenses into armor that can defend like a mountain and recover extremely quickly. Retreat. Fang Yuan used myriad dragons and used familiar face to transform into one of them, disguising his identity. The myriad dragons did not attack Jinglan, but scattered in all directions. Where do you think you're going? Jingbo shouted loudly. Thunder and lightning surged, smashing down from the sky. In that instant, tens of thousands of streaks of lightning scattered the flood dragon army. Although myriad dragons were much stronger than myriad self, they were nothing compared to this rank 8 killer move. Fang Yuan's true body was soon found. Jinglan continued to attack, chasing him relentlessly. Fang Yuan started to run for his life, rarely retaliating. Truly a tortoise shell. Jinglan was quite annoyed. Fang Yuan clearly only had rank 7 cultivation, but after using reverse flow protection seal, his entire body was covered in thorns that could not be used. Still not done. Jinglan transmitted to Fairy Myrtle. Fairy Myrtle was far away in Celestial Court, but she was paying close attention to this place, using Celestial Court's Wisdom Path formation to break reverse flow protection seal. As for Star Constellation chessboard, because it was heavily damaged, it could not be used for the time being. There are some results, Senior, please listen carefully. Fairy Myrtle explained the killer move to Jinglan. Jinglan immediately tried. After failing 2 or 3 times, she finally activated it and shot out a profound light. The grey profound light hit Fang Yuan, causing the reverse flow protection seal on Fang Yuan's body to ripple. You have already deduced a method? Fang Yuan's heart tightened, but fortunately, this killer move was only rank 6, it was not high level and could not shake reverse flow protection seal for the time being. Fairy Myrtle's eyes flickered with starlight, she firmly remembered the effect of the grey profound light. This was not only a result, but also a further probe of the reverse current protection seal. Ha ha ha, Fang Yuan, it must have been hard for you to think of such a killer move. Unfortunately, you will die today. Jinglan laughed loudly. Her speed was astonishing, far faster than Fang Yuan. At this rate, Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal would be broken sooner or later. Don't you have the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel? Don't you need it now? Jinglan smiled again. With a loud sound, the lightning in her hand struck Fang Yuan's back again. Chapter 1568. Genius in 1 second. Remember Love Go? TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. To be able to forcefully destroy my Yama, and also after Lang Ya Blessed Land was attacked, it was most likely the Celestial Court who took action. At that instant, thoughts moved rapidly in Fang Yuan's mind. Guo Fangjing was taken away, he has a blood connection with my Time Path clone, but the clone is inside my sovereign immortal aperture. I don't think we can use this clue. My Dark Limit Immortal GU was in the hands of the Celestial Court. This clue is very important, but just this alone is not enough to destroy my Yama. Then, what method did the celestial court use? What crucial clues did they find that are related to me? Fang Yuan thought as he rapidly moved. Now that his location was exposed, staying at the same place was definitely a bad idea. The urgent matter now was to keep moving. At the same time, he had to repair ghostly concealment and think of a way to solve the current problem. Crack. Fang Yuan flew for 4 to 6 hours, when suddenly, a thunderbolt burst out from the clear sky. The thunderbolt directly targeted Fang Yuan, fiercely striking down. Fang Yuan was already prepared, he quickly dodged. With a loud sound, the thunderbolt hit the ground, the lightning solidified and formed into a human figure. The figure quickly became clear. Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jinglan was wearing a sinister black armor, half squatting on the ground. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Countless tiny bolts of lightning coiled around her armor. The crater created by the explosion had already been completely roasted into a lump of charcoal. Because of the high temperature, white smoke was rising in spirals. Jinglan slowly stood up. She originally had a petite figure, but after wearing the armor, she became over 10 feet tall. Her body was tall and sturdy. Boom! Her rank 8 aura swept out like a majestic mountain. She slowly raised her head, looking at Fang Yuan in the air, saying coldly, "You are Fang Yuan? Where do you think you can run to?" A central continent rank 8 GU immortal. Furthermore, looking at this situation, he might be someone from the celestial court. Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, his alertness rose to the highest. Immortal killer move Myriad Self. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. Facing an unfamiliar enemy in front of him, he brazenly attacked. In an instant, countless Fang Yuans spread across the sky. In Jinglan's blink of an eye, the originally clear and cloudless sky was filled with a sea of Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms. With a hula sound, the army rushed towards Jinglan like a tsunami that shook the heavens. Jinglan closed her eyes and then abruptly opened them. Her originally black eyes had turned a deep blue. Endless electric arcs were like vortexes that constantly rotated in her pupils. She scanned her surroundings but did not find Fang Yuan's true body. Familiar face, humph. Jinglan coldly snorted in displeasure and suddenly opened her mouth. "Ah!" she roared, and thunder rumbled. The sound waves carried waves of blue electric arcs that rapidly spread in all directions with her as the center. Wherever they went, Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms could not even resist for a breath's time before shattering and collapsing. With one move, the clear sky reappeared, and Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms were completely destroyed, only his true body was left. Lightning Path Rank 8. Why do I sense the aura of Soul Path from her? Fang Yuan frowned slightly. He was not shocked by the destruction of Myriad Self. Myriad Self was originally a probing move. Against a rank 8 GU Immortal's killer move, no matter how many Myriad Self there were, it would not be effective. Immortal killer move Ignited Thought Flying Rock. Immortal killer move Purple Thought Perception Starlight. Fang Yuan pushed with both palms, and immediately, countless meteors with long flaming tails smashed towards Jinglan, who was on the ground. Love Go Small Say Neck. After completing this move, he clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly threw out countless purple starlight specks that were dazzling and translucent. Jinglan's lightning eyes first saw the ignited thought flying rock and immediately showed disdain, but when she saw the purple thought perception starlight specks, her pupils slightly shrunk. This killer move is excellent, I need to avoid it. Jinglan's mind moved, and with a crack, her body turned into a flash of lightning that shot towards Fang Yuan. Fast, fast, fast. Her speed was so fast that even Fang Yuan showed a shocked expression. Furthermore, the lightning was extremely agile. It did not just charge around blindly. Along the way, when it encountered the burning thoughts flying rocks, it would all be knocked away. However, when it encountered the purple thought insight spiritual starlight, it would directly dodge and move forward. Fang Yuan's offense was majestic, but Jinglan was unstoppable. After turning several times in the air, she arrived in front of Fang Yuan. "Come at me." Fang Yuan gritted his teeth and suddenly turned into an ancient sword dragon, fiercely grabbing at Jinglan with his sharp claws. Jinglan's armor was huge and heavy, but compared to Fang Yuan's sword dragon transformation, it was somewhat pocket-sized. However, She was extremely fierce. With a low growl, she did not dodge and directly used the sharp horn on her helmet to collide with the dragon claw. Boom! With a loud sound, both sides were fiercely bounced back. Fang Yuan's claws were soft and limp, numb from the recoil. Meanwhile, all the sharp horns on Jinglan's armor were broken, and the entire helmet was covered in cracks. At the same time, she felt a slight sense of dizziness. This is reverse flow protection seal. Jinglan was well aware of this. She had set out from the Celestial Court and had naturally obtained detailed information on Fang Yuan provided by Fairy Myrtle. Therefore, Jinglan was not surprised by this situation. Everything was within her expectations. She laughed and shot forward again, lightning radiance erupting from her body as she charged at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan fought her without any fear. Both sides fought back and forth in the air, causing the sun and moon to lose their light and the world to change color. Fang Yuan relied on reverse flow protection seal to fight evenly with Jinglan, but he retreated as he moved. This person clearly knows about the countercurrent protection seal. That's why he's using such a powerful technique. Not only does he force me to use the countercurrent protection seal to block the attack, but he also doesn't let the rebound attack harm him. Fang Yuan had a bad feeling. Although Jinglan could not do anything to Fang Yuan, this situation was only temporary. There was definitely a wisdom path great expert behind her that was closely watching the battle and constantly analyzing Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal was constantly being analyzed and deduced. Once it reached a certain level, a killer move that could counter reverse flow protection seal would be deduced. With such a killer move, after breaking reverse flow protection seal, Fang Yuan's doomsday would arrive. This person is constantly changing methods to probe my reverse flow protection seal. Her intentions are clear. She cultivates both Thunder Path and Soul Path. Her Thunder Path attacks are extremely fast and powerful, while her Soul Path condenses into armor that can defend like a mountain and recover extremely quickly. Retreat. Fang Yuan used myriad dragons and used familiar face to transform into one of them, disguising his identity. The myriad dragons did not attack Jinglan, but scattered in all directions. Where do you think you're going? Jingbo shouted loudly. Thunder and lightning surged, smashing down from the sky. In that instant, tens of thousands of streaks of lightning scattered the flood dragon army. Although myriad dragons were much stronger than myriad self, they were nothing compared to this rank 8 killer move. Fang Yuan's true body was soon found. Jinglan continued to attack, chasing him relentlessly. Fang Yuan started to run for his life, rarely retaliating. Truly a tortoise shell. Jinglan was quite annoyed. Fang Yuan clearly only had rank 7 cultivation, but after using reverse flow protection seal, his entire body was covered in thorns that could not be used. Still not done. Jinglan transmitted to Fairy Myrtle. Fairy Myrtle was far away in Celestial Court, but she was paying close attention to this place, using Celestial Court's Wisdom Path formation to break reverse flow protection seal. As for Star Constellation chessboard, because it was heavily damaged, it could not be used for the time being. There are some results, Senior, please listen carefully. Fairy Myrtle explained the killer move to Jinglan. Jinglan immediately tried. After failing 2 or 3 times, she finally activated it and shot out a profound light. The grey profound light hit Fang Yuan, causing the reverse flow protection seal on Fang Yuan's body to ripple. You have already deduced a method? Fang Yuan's heart tightened, but fortunately, this killer move was only rank 6, it was not high level and could not shake reverse flow protection seal for the time being. Fairy Myrtle's eyes flickered with starlight. She firmly remembered the effect of the grey profound light. This was not only a result, but also a further probe of the reverse current protection seal. Ha ha ha, Fang Yuan, it must have been hard for you to think of such a killer move. Unfortunately, you will die today. Jinglan laughed loudly. Her speed was astonishing, far faster than Fang Yuan. At this rate, Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal would be broken sooner or later. Don't you have the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel? Don't you need it now? Jinglan smiled again. With a loud sound, the lightning in her hand struck Fang Yuan's back again. Chapter 1569. To be able to forcefully destroy my Yama after Lang Ya blessed land was attacked, it is most likely the celestial court's doing. At that instant, thoughts moved rapidly in Fang Yuan's mind. Guo Fangjing was taken away. He has a blood connection with my time path clone, but the clone is inside my sovereign immortal aperture. I don't think we can use this clue. My dark limit immortal GU was in the hands of the celestial court. This clue is very important, but just this alone is not enough to destroy my Yama. Then, what method did the celestial court use? What crucial clues did they find that are related to me? Fang Yuan thought as he rapidly moved. Now that his location was exposed, staying at the same place was definitely a bad idea. The urgent matter at hand was to continue moving. At the same time, he had to repair ghostly concealment and think of a way to solve the current problem. Crack. Fang Yuan flew for 4 to 6 hours, when suddenly, a thunderbolt burst out from the clear sky. The thunderbolt directly struck at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was already prepared. He quickly dodged. With a loud sound, the thunderbolt landed on the ground. The lightning solidified and turned into a human figure. The figure quickly became clear. Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jinglan was wearing a sinister black armor, half squatting on the ground. Crackle crackle crackle. Countless tiny bolts of lightning coiled around her armor. The crater created by the explosion had already been completely roasted into a lump of charcoal. Because of the high temperature, white smoke was rising in spirals. Jinglan slowly stood up. She had a petite figure, but after wearing the armor, she was over 10 feet tall. Her body was tall and sturdy. Boom! Her rank 8 aura swept out like a majestic mountain. She slowly raised her head, looking at Fang Yuan who was in the air, saying in a cold voice, "You are Fang Yuan? Where do you think you can escape to? A central continent rank 8 GU immortal. Furthermore, looking at your appearance, you are likely a member of the celestial court." Fang Yuan's pupils shrunk, his vigilance rose to the highest. Immortal killer move myriad self. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed. Facing an unfamiliar enemy in front of him, he brazenly attacked. In an instant, countless Fang Yuans spread across the sky. In Jinglan's blink of an eye, the originally clear and cloudless sky was filled with a sea of Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms. With a hula sound, the army rushed towards Jinglan like a tsunami that shook the heavens. Jinglan closed her eyes and then abruptly opened them. Her originally black eyes had turned a deep blue. Endless electric arcs were like vortexes that constantly rotated in her pupils. She scanned her surroundings but did not find Fang Yuan's true body. Familiar face, humph. Jinglan coldly snorted in displeasure and suddenly opened her mouth. Roar. She roared, and thunder rumbled. The sound waves carried a blue electric light, with her as the center, spreading rapidly in all directions. Wherever it went, Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms could not even resist for a breath's time, shattering and collapsing. With one move, the clear sky reappeared, and Fang Yuan's strength path phantoms were completely destroyed, only his true body was left. Lightning path rank 8. Why do I sense the aura of soul path from her? Fang Yuan frowned slightly. He was not shocked by the destruction of Myriad Self. Myriad Self was originally a probing move. Facing a rank 8 GU Immortal's killer move, no matter how many Myriad Self there were, it would be difficult to have a good effect. Immortal killer move ignited thought flying rock. Immortal killer move purple thought insight starlight. Fang Yuan pushed with both palms, and immediately, countless meteors with long flaming tails smashed towards Jinglan who was on the ground. After completing this move, he clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly threw out countless purple starlight specks that were dazzling and translucent. Jinglan's lightning eyes first saw the ignited thought flying rocks and immediately showed disdain, but when she saw the purple thought insight starlight, her pupils slightly shrunk. This killer move is excellent, I need to avoid it. Jinglan's mind moved, and with a crack, her body turned into a flash of lightning that shot towards Fang Yuan. Fast, fast, fast. Her speed was so fast that even Fang Yuan showed a shocked expression. Moreover, the lightning was extremely agile and did not just charge around blindly. Along the way, when it encountered the ignited thought flying rocks, it would all be knocked away, but when it encountered the purple thought insight starlight, it would directly dodge and move unhindered. Fang Yuan's offensive was majestic, but Jing Lan was unstoppable. After turning several times in the air, she arrived in front of Fang Yuan. "Come at me." Fang Yuan gritted his teeth and suddenly turned into an ancient sword dragon, fiercely grabbing at Jing Lan with his sharp claws. Jing Lan's armor was massive and heavy, but compared to the sword dragon that Fang Yuan had turned into, it seemed a bit smaller. But she was extremely fierce. With a low shout, she did not dodge, but instead used the sharp horn on her helmet to collide with the dragon claw. Boom! With a loud sound, both sides were fiercely bounced back. Fang Yuan's claws were soft and limp, numb from the recoil. Meanwhile, the sharp horns on Jing Lan's armor were all broken and the entire helmet was covered in cracks. At the same time, she felt a slight sense of dizziness. This is the reverse flow protection seal. Jing Lan was well aware of this. She had set out from the Celestial Court and had naturally obtained detailed information on Fang Yuan provided by Fairy Myrtle. Therefore, Jing Lan was not surprised by this situation. Everything was within her expectations. She laughed and once again shot forward like a bolt of lightning. Lightning erupted from her body as she shot towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan fought her without fear. Both sides fought back and forth in the air, causing the sun and moon to lose their luster and the world to change color. Fang Yuan relied on the reverse flow protection seal to fight evenly with Jing Lan, but he retreated as he moved. This person clearly knows about the countercurrent protection seal. That's why he's using such a powerful technique. Not only does he force me to use the countercurrent protection seal to block the attack, but he also doesn't let the rebound attack harm him. Fang Yuan had a bad feeling. Although Jing Lan could not do anything to Fang Yuan, this situation was only temporary. There was definitely a wisdom path great expert behind her that was closely watching the battle and analyzing Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal was constantly being analyzed and deduced. Once it reached a certain level, a killer move that could counter reverse flow protection seal would be deduced. With such a killer move, after breaking the reverse flow protection seal, Fang Yuan's end would come. This person is constantly changing her methods to probe my reverse flow protection seal from all directions. Her intentions are clear. She cultivates both lightning path and soul path. Her lightning path attacks are extremely fast and powerful, while her soul path condenses into armor that can defend like a mountain and recover extremely quickly. Retreat. Fang Yuan used myriad dragons and used familiar face to transform into one of them, disguising his identity. The myriad dragons did not attack Jing Lan, but scattered in all directions. "Where do you think you're going?" Jing Bo shouted loudly. Thunder and lightning surged, smashing down from the sky. In that instant, tens of thousands of streaks of lightning scattered the flood dragons. Although myriad dragons were much stronger than myriad self, they were nothing compared to this rank 8 killer move. Fang Yuan's true body was soon found. Jing Lan continued to attack, chasing him relentlessly. Fang Yuan started to run for his life, rarely retaliating. Truly a tortoise shell. Jing Lan was quite annoyed. Fang Yuan clearly only had rank 7 cultivation, but after putting on a layer of reverse flow protection seal, he was covered in thorns that could not be used. Still not done. Jing Lan transmitted to Fairy Myrtle. Fairy Myrtle was far away in Celestial Court, but she was paying close attention to this place. She was using Celestial Court's wisdom path formation to break reverse flow protection seal. As for Star Constellation chessboard, because it was damaged, it could not be used for the time being. There are some results, Senior, please listen carefully. Fairy Myrtle explained the killer move to Jing Lan. Jing Lan immediately tried. After failing 2 or 3 times, she finally activated it and shot out a profound light. The grey profound light hit Fang Yuan, causing ripples to appear on Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. A method has already been deduced. Fang Yuan's heart tightened, but fortunately, this killer move was only rank 6, it was not high level and could not shake reverse flow protection seal for the time being. Fairy Myrtle's eyes flickered with starlight. She firmly remembered the effect of the grey profound light. This was a result, and also a further probe into reverse flow protection seal. Ha ha ha, Fang Yuan, it must have been hard for you to think of such a killer move. Unfortunately, you will die today. Jing Lan laughed loudly. Her speed was astonishing, far faster than Fang Yuan. At this rate, Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal would be broken sooner or later. Don't you have the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel? Don't you need it now? Jing Lan smiled again. With a loud sound, the lightning in her hand struck Fang Yuan's back again. Fang Yuan did not say a word, he fled with all his strength. Chapter 1570. Die. Jing Lan shouted, looking at the beam of light shooting towards Fang Yuan, her eyes were filled with joy. Although she had rank 8 cultivation and extremely strong battle strength, she had lived under the shadow of spectral soul demon Venerable all her life. In the celestial court, she had woken up because of Dang Hun Mountain's self-detonation, seeing spectral soul's stubborn resistance, the emotions buried in the depths of her heart surged. Shock, anger, pity, schadenfreude, as well as fear. O spectral soul, you were once so strong, but now you have become a prisoner of the celestial court. Now that your inheritor is about to be killed by me, I have awakened at the right time. After killing your inheritor, I will eliminate the fear that you have planted in the depths of my heart. Then, I will bring Fang Yuan's head to see you, and you will also be killed by me in the end. Ha ha ha, one day, you will also die by my hands. Unbelievable, it is like a dream, ha ha ha. At this moment, Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jing Lan laughed wildly in her mind. Something is wrong, quickly stop. At this time, Jing Lan suddenly heard a voice. Too late. Jing Lan's eyes were filled with killing intent and bloodthirst, but she was also slightly stunned. This voice is somewhat familiar, that's right, it is that Junior Z Wei. So it is not Fang Yuan's reinforcements. Wait, what does she mean? A thought flashed across Jing Lan's mind like lightning. The bloodthirst in Jing Lan's eyes immediately dissipated by more than half, replaced by reason and clarity. She quickly wanted to retreat. It is already too late. Fang Yuan's expression suddenly changed, the fear and panic from before disappeared without a trace, and what replaced it was the determination to win and soaring fighting spirit. He moved his dragon body, not only did he not dodge, he even charged forward in defiance of the heavens, aiming at Jing Lan's shortkill attack and colliding with it. The beam of light ruthlessly struck Fang Yuan's body, but the layer of reverse flow protection seal covering Fang Yuan's dragon body instantly changed. Not only did it return to its original state, it even circulated with traces of mysterious profound light. At this crucial moment, reverse flow protection seal produced a completely new transformation. Change of technique. The pillar of light couldn't break through this reverse current protection seal at all and was reflected back. This. Jing Lan's pupils fiercely shrank. Even though she was a veteran of hundreds of battles, at this moment, her complexion suddenly changed, revealing a shocked expression. In her previous battle with Fang Yuan, the techniques she used were very restrained. Even if it was reflected, she could either retrieve it or endure it. But this strike was completely different. This was her full strength attack, it was a rank 8 level immortal killer move. She was determined to succeed in this attack. Not only would she be able to break through the reverse current protection seal, she would also be able to kill Fang Yuan. But now, the killer move she used with all her strength was reflected back at her. Jing Lan had forced Fang Yuan into a position where he had no chance to dodge. The distance between the two was very close. Right now, Jing Lan wanted to dodge, but there was not enough time. Her emotions were also fluctuating intensely because of the shadow planted in her heart by spectral soul demon Venerable, and the most important reason was that her condition was not good. As a rank 8, although she had the ability to penetrate deep into the regional wall, she did not have the sovereign immortal body. Her body was still suffering from backlash and injuries. While chasing Fang Yuan all the way, taking revenge, and occupying the upper hand, Jing Lan did not feel it. But now, when she wanted to dodge, she suddenly realized that her condition was already so terrible. With all these factors stacked on top of each other, Jing Lan could not dodge the pillar of light in time and could only take it head-on. Boom! The pillar of light bombarded Jing Lan's body, erupting with extremely dazzling light like the sun had descended on the battlefield. Even though Fang Yuan had transformed into an ancient sword dragon, he had no choice but to tightly close his eyes at this moment. But at the next moment, the light weakened slightly, and Fang Yuan endured the pain and forcibly opened his eyes. Kill. He could barely make out Jing Lan's tiny and delicate body within the endless white light. The sinister and thick armor that covered her entire body had completely disintegrated, revealing her immortal body. After being struck by her own full-strength attack, Jing Lan's eyes rolled back and blood gushed out from all the pores on her body, causing her to fall into a temporary state of unconsciousness. Fang Yuan opened his huge mouth, his dragon teeth were as sharp as spears, his dragon body suddenly pounced towards Jing Lan. His muscles bulged to an exaggerated degree as Fang Yuan's dragon claws ruthlessly tore down. Damn it! Damn it! I actually fell for his trap. In the celestial court, Fairy Myrtle's eyes were wide open, she was angry and blaming herself. He actually deduced reverse flow protection seal to such an extent, and even changed his moves. The original reverse flow protection seal was a trap specifically targeted at me. Once I deduced it successfully, he changed his move, and the reverse flow protection seal after the change was completely different, completely new. This Fang Yuan, inconceivable. How can his wisdom path attainments be so deep? Fairy Myrtle had always been overestimating Fang Yuan, but the reality in front of her was a ruthless slap to her face. She had thought she had the upper hand. Ever since the Battle of Reverse Flow River, she had been collecting information and working hard to deduce reverse flow protection seal. In the following process, including when Feng Joga chased after Fang Yuan, she had been working behind the scenes to deduce everything, until Thunder Ghost True Monarch appeared. She felt that this was the result of her many accumulations, but to think that this was all Fang Yuan's trap and scheme. The wisdom path attainment that Fang Yuan displayed far surpassed Fairy Myrtle's expectations. But how is this possible? Wait, did he borrow the power of Wisdom GU? But Wisdom GU is clearly a wild creature. Only rank 9 Venerables can refine this GU and use it for themselves. Fang Yuan was only rank 7, no one in Lang Ya sect had such an ability. Even if he had rank 9 Immortal Essence, he would need the Venerable's will to fight Wisdom GU. The Celestial Court recorded that after Star Constellation Immortal Venerable reached rank 9, she spent close to 100 years to refine and subdue the rank 9 Wisdom GU. Fairy Myrtle could not understand. Her forehead was covered in sweat. In just a short moment, there was a layer of cold sweat on her forehead. Senior Jing Lan will definitely suffer heavy injuries from this attack. Hold on. You must hold on. Fairy Myrtle had deduced a rank 8 killer move. She naturally knew the power of this move. The investigative killer move that she had placed on Jing Lan was also destroyed by this attack. Fairy Myrtle had completely lost her ability to investigate the battle. She immediately sent Chen Yi and the rest to the regional war battlefield to reinforce Thunder Ghost True Monarch. But she still had to stay in the Celestial Court. Duke Long was wholeheartedly nurturing Feng Kim Hoang. He was no longer here. Spectral Soul was resisting stubbornly. He needed to be monitored at all times. The Celestial Court also needed her, Fairy Myrtle, to oversee the overall situation. Crack, crack, crack. A series of sounds came from Jing Lan's body. Fang Yuan's dragon claw was sharp as a blade as it stabbed at Jing Lan's chest. But at the critical moment, a dense layer of lightning armor appeared in front of Jing Lan's chest, intertwined with arcs of electricity. The dragon claw scratched this layer of armor like it was scratching the hardest steel. This was a rank 8 killer move, passive defense. Even if a GU Immortal was unconscious, it could still be activated by external attacks. Normally, Fang Yuan would be like a mouse fighting a bull. But now, this layer of lightning armor was damaged from the previous attack. It was not in a complete state. Thus, Fang Yuan used all his strength to tear it apart. The dragon claw firmly chopped down, piercing Jing Lan's skin along the way, from her left shoulder to the right side of her waist. Wherever it went, lightning flashed and the lightning armor was torn apart. Jing Lan's ribs were even harder, but 3 of them were cut by Fang Yuan's dragon claw. The dragon claw was completely undamaged. Immortal essence was rapidly consumed. Reverse flow protection seal had been maintaining it, loyally protecting Fang Yuan. If not for this layer of protection, just the dragon claw alone would have broken countless bones and shattered half the distance. The intense pain stimulated Jinglan to open her eyes. She was worthy of being an experienced rank 8 great expert that could resist spectral soul demon Venerable. In an instant, she understood her situation and let out a sharp scream. This scream was not meaningless, it was an immortal killer move. Fang Yuan only frowned, he was unscathed. On the contrary, this attack was completely reversed by the countercurrent protection seal and struck Jinglan's body. Jinglan's eardrums were instantly destroyed and her mind was in chaos. Large amounts of internal bleeding occurred in her head, thick blood gushed out of her eyeballs and her vision turned blood red. Jinglan had outstanding battle accomplishments, but maybe because she had just woken up from her slumber and had not exercised her body, her first battle was with Fang Yuan. Or maybe, after she was woken up by the pain, she realized she was heavily injured and subconsciously defended herself. In short, her reaction was too fast and she forgot that Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal had already undergone a new transformation, resulting in this mistake and causing her to suffer heavy injuries again. Take her life while she is ill. Fang Yuan's dragon pupils were filled with a cold and sinister light. He fiercely swung his dragon tail and ruthlessly slammed Jinglan down from the sky. With a loud bang, the ground shook and Jinglan was smashed into the ground like a rubber ball, creating a deep pit with a radius of 3 meters. Damn it! Jinglan gritted her teeth and struggled to get up. Her injuries were extremely heavy, her armor was intact and her ribs were broken. From the outside, her beating heart and expanding and contracting lungs could be seen. Roar. At the next moment, Fang Yuan opened his dragon mouth to its widest and let out a dragon breath. Sword-light dragon breath. Surging to the extreme, incomparably sharp. The silver-white dragon breath was like a waterfall that soared to the sky and heavily crashed into Jinglan's body. Jinglan had just stood up and the thoughts in her mind had mostly settled down when she was struck by the sword dragon breath and knelt on one knee on the ground. I was actually forced to kneel on the ground by a rank 7 GU immortal. Thinking of this, an intense feeling of humiliation filled Jinglan's heart. Anger and hatred immediately surged up. Arth. Jinglan raised her head and roared. As she roared, blue lightning shot out from the countless pores on her body. The lightning interweaved and suddenly expanded. Rumble. Endless lightning formed a hemispherical light barrier that repelled everything in the surroundings. Wherever it went, whether it was Fang Yuan's dragon breath or the surrounding miasma, they were completely destroyed by the lightning. Chapter 1571. Fang Yuan activated his strongest offensive method. Dragon roars resounded, silver scales appearing like a sea. Tens of thousands of flood dragons surged forward, savagely encircling Jinglan in the center of the deep pit. Damn it. Jinglan gritted her teeth, the anger in her eyes like blazing flames. After the attack just now, her aura had fallen to rock bottom. The myriad dragons pounced over and were all killed by her. These little earthworms are nothing at all. Fang Yuan, you coward, come, let's fight with our true bodies. Jinglan roared. Fang Yuan sneered, his true body hiding in a corner. Myriad dragon, myriad dragon, myriad dragon, myriad dragon. Disregarding the expenditure of immortal essence, Fang Yuan frantically activated myriad dragon killer move. Jinglan's aura rapidly weakened, she roared again and again, provoking Fang Yuan. But Fang Yuan did not move his true body. Myriad Dragon was a peak rank 7 killer move, but it was nothing to Jinglan. Because Jinglan still had abundant immortal essence and her immortal GU were not damaged. But every time Jinglan used a killer move, she would suffer the backlash of the regional wall. Even though she had methods to weaken this backlash, she was heavily injured at this moment. The backlash was very fatal. Don't forget, she still had to heal herself. But how could the injuries on her body be so easily healed? It was very difficult to treat GU Immortal's injuries. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body was unique in the world. Jinglan saw that she could not lure Fang Yuan's true body, so she snorted and chose to break through. Myriad Dragon could not stop her, even though she was heavily injured. This was Thunder Ghost True Monarch who could resist spectral soul demon Venerable back then. Her battle strength was peerless. Fang Yuan sighed. He knew that he was strong in defense, and although his battle strength could barely reach rank 8, against a person like Jing Lan, he could not keep her life. GU immortals who reached this level would not die easily. Unless they ambushed the GU immortal in the immortal battlefield killer move and killed the GU immortal before the battlefield killer move was unraveled. Of course, from another perspective, Fang Yuan couldn't kill Jing Lan, but Jing Lan also couldn't kill Fang Yuan. No matter how fast she couldn't stop Fang Yuan from entering the boundary wall. Even so, Fang Yuan clearly understood that even if he couldn't kill Jing Lan, he still had to pursue her. I need to weaken this person's battle prowess as much as possible so that I can buy some time for myself. Fang Yuan reached out and pointed. Immortal Killer Move, Directional Confusion Fog. The original Directional Confusion Fog was Purple Fog. It was not big but could make rank 8 GU immortals lose their way. After Fang Yuan's first modification, this move had no effect on rank 8 GU immortals, but its effect on rank 7 and below GU immortals was increased. Not only did its color change, its range also expanded greatly, but it only lasted for a short period of time. After the Battle of Green Ghost Desert, Fang Yuan's Theft Path Attainment soared and he modified this move again, adding many Theft Path Mortal GU and even fusing Great Thief Immortal GU into it as the core to steal the enemy's perception ability. Thus, its power soared and it could affect rank 8 GU immortals once again. In an instant, large amounts of clouds and mist shrouded Jing Lan, causing her to lose her sense of direction. Fang Yuan took the chance to order the myriad dragons to encircle her again. Oh no! I lack many immortal GU, I can't even break this killer move. Jing Lan tried many methods but was shocked to find that she actually had no good way to deal with this killer move. Hey! What's going on? Fang Yuan observed for a while and saw that Jing Lan couldn't break out of the encirclement. He was baffled. This killer move had been modified by Fang Yuan and was even more convenient to use, but it was only at rank 7 level. Fang Yuan had not expected to block Jing Lan with this move. His true intention was to delay her for some time. But Jing Lan couldn't break out. This surprised Fang Yuan. From outside the fog, Fang Yuan could clearly sense the aura of an immortal GU. Jing Lan had been using her methods to try and break it. Her move was not ineffective, but the effect was not great. It only thinned the direction confusion fog a little. Fang Yuan's eyes shone with bright light. After observing for a while, he immediately activated direction confusion fog. The fog continued to increase in density, layer upon layer, firmly trapping Jing Lan inside. She really can't break out. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly. If he had known this, he would have used this move earlier, and he wouldn't have had to struggle so hard to escape. However, any killer move's effect would diminish after being used too many times. Not only would the enemy be on guard, they would also give themselves away, leading to deductions and breakthroughs. Thus, it was a wise move for Fang Yuan to keep this killer move with him. But he had not expected it to actually trap Jing Lan. This was a pleasant surprise. Oh no! Jing Lan also realized the situation was far from good. At this moment, she truly felt the aura of death. Kill. Countless sword dragons drilled into the direction confusion fog, besieging Jing Lan from all directions. Jing Lan couldn't break out of the fog and fell into a bitter battle. The regional wall was still rejecting her. Every time she used a killer move, she would suffer a backlash. Could it be that I, Jing Lan, the Grand Thunder Ghost True Monarch, am going to die here? As time passed, the situation became increasingly disadvantageous to Jing Lan, making her heart sink. No, I still have to persevere. I still want to fight. Even if I die, I will drag this Fang Yuan down with me. Jing Lan's gaze fell on her chest. The wound on her chest was extremely large, exposing her heart. Her heart was very special. Every time it beat, traces of purple lightning would burst out. This was her final trump card. Such powerful battle strength. Even with such heavy injuries, she can still persevere and still has strength to spare. Moreover, her will is also invulnerable, even though I secretly used so many wisdom path methods. After a long while of encirclement, Fang Yuan sighed and gave up. Time was crucial now. Fang Yuan needed to deduce and improve Ghost Soldier Garment as soon as possible. Although the situation was extremely advantageous to Fang Yuan, Celestial Court would definitely send reinforcements. Once reinforcements arrived, it would be a disaster for Fang Yuan. In fact, some GU immortals had come together with Thunder Ghost True Monarch, but they had left their companions far behind. This was a possibility. Without any hesitation, Fang Yuan retreated, but before he left, he added many more myriad dragon and directional confusion fog. Retreat. Fang Yuan immediately moved towards the regional wall. The 5 regional walls were relatively safe for Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan moved while deducing and modifying Ghost Official Garment. But soon, he found that Ghost Official Garment was still limited to rank 7 no matter how much he modified it. It was better to dig out the connection between it and Ghostly Concealment. Ghostly Concealment is a rank 9 killer move. Even though it is Theft Path, it has the word ghost in it, it blocks the soul's senses, so it is closely related to Soul Path. Yama's idea is correct. With Ghostly Concealment, I can raise Ghost Official Garment's level to a higher level. After finding the correct direction, Fang Yuan used every second he had to deduce. He had rich wisdom path methods and sufficient attainment level, especially his Theft Path attainment level. It gave him the most crucial support. After fleeing for several days and nights, Fang Yuan finally finished his deductions and activated Yama again. The new Yama killer move allowed Ghostly Concealment and Ghost Official Garment to be even more closely connected. Originally, these 2 killer moves were repelling each other, but now, they were fusing together. The repelling effect had completely disappeared. Success. Fang Yuan sensed carefully and clenched his fists excitedly. He blocked the Celestial Court's deductions and location again. This time, the danger was averted. But if he deactivated Yama, he would be exposed to the Celestial Court's deductions again. Fang Yuan quickly moved towards Northern Plains. Maintaining the new Yama was not a small expenditure. In this battle with Thunder Ghost True Monarch, he had expended a lot of immortal essence. Fang Yuan's original immortal essence reserves were almost empty. In this battle, Fang Yuan had used Myriad Dragon the most times. Other than that, he had also used Direction Confusion Fog the most in history. These immortal killer moves all expended immortal essence. Moreover, deducing the new Yama also expended a lot of immortal essence. Fang Yuan had suffered huge losses in this battle, but it was not without gains. His greatest gain was preserving his life. Other than that, there was the new Yama and Thunder Ghost True Monarch's 3 rib bones. Chapter 1572. Celestial Court. In a grand palace, Fairy Myrtle slowly opened her eyes and stopped her deductions, sighing. This Fang Yuan's wisdom path attainment is already extraordinary. He was able to defend against my method again. Rank 8 GU Immortal Chen Yi had been using Karma Divine Tree to help Fairy Myrtle make deductions. At this moment, he had a complex expression as he spoke. Lady Ziwei, there is one more thing I need to report. What is it? Chen Yi had only been assisting from the side, but Fairy Myrtle was fully focused on deducing Fang Yuan, so Chen Yi was the first to notice Fang Yuan's actions. He immediately answered, Jewel Yellow Skies has sold 3 rib bones of Lady Thunder Ghost True Monarch. What? Fairy Myrtle's expression changed. She immediately contacted Jewel Yellow Skies and saw that the 3 rib bones had indeed caused a huge commotion. Many GU immortal wills had gathered. It is hard to imagine that this demon Fang Yuan already has such battle strength. Sigh, his growth is too fast. He is already a demonic path overlord of the current generation. Fang Yuan is an otherworldly demon. He also has Spring-Autumn Cicada and has been reborn. He naturally has a huge advantage in cultivation. I recognize her. This is Celestial Court's GU Immortal Thunder Ghost True Monarch. To think that she was actually suppressed by Fang Yuan. Thunder Ghost True Monarch Jinglan. This is an old senior. She is actually still alive. Central Continent Celestial Court is only SOSO. They are the #1 human force in vain. They have been searching for Fang Yuan all along and even sent a rank 8 GU Immortal, but they were still beaten to such a sorry state by Fang Yuan. The GU Immortal wills continued to converse. Fairy Zi Wei's body started to tremble. This was because of anger. This was because not only was Fang Yuan selling the sternum, but he was also using a method to continuously replay the scene of his battle with Jing Lan. Of course, he only chose the part where he successfully counterattacked and beat up Jing Lan. "My lord, should we inform Thunder Ghost True Monarch about this?" Chen Yi asked. By the time Jing Lan defeated myriad flood dragons and dispelled the directional confusion fog with great difficulty, Fang Yuan had long since disappeared without a trace. Although Fairy Myrtle was still able to calculate Fang Yuan's position at that time, Jing Lan's combat strength had been weakened to rock bottom. Her condition was extremely poor and she urgently needed to recuperate. Later, reinforcements arrived and met up with her. She once again set out to kill Fang Yuan. Unfortunately, the distance between her and Fang Yuan had already widened. Fang Yuan had been in the depths of the boundary wall all this time. Jing Lan kept chasing after them, but her helpers didn't have the means to go so deep into the boundary wall, so they could only coordinate from outside the boundary wall. Jing Lan was unwilling to accept her failure, her heart was filled with anger and humiliation, so she kept chasing after them. But just now, Fairy Myrtle couldn't calculate Fang Yuan's position, so Jing Lan lost her target and direction. "Ziwei, where is that demon, Fang Yuan?" Jing Lan transmitted to ask. She was flustered and exasperated, her tone was very aggressive. She had thought it would be easy to capture him, but in the end, she ended up seriously injured and in such a sorry state. How could the proud Jing Lan accept this reality? She gritted her teeth, urgently hoping to capture and kill Fang Yuan to avenge her humiliation. Fairy Myrtle was silent for a moment before slowly informing Jing Lan. "What? Even you can lose him?" Jing Lan was furious and extremely dissatisfied. Fang Yuan's wisdom path attainments are no longer the same as before, but he has to go to Lang Ya Blessed Land in the end. We have already made arrangements there. Although we didn't capture this scoundrel in this battle, we still made great gains. Not only did we consume a large amount of his immortal essence, we also forced him to expose countless trump cards. How can a GU immortal like him be killed in one battle? Fairy Myrtle advised Jing Lan in a gentle tone. Jing Lan was silent, standing on the spot without moving. After a long while, she heaved a long sigh, the anger on her face had already completely faded. "I underestimated him. This person is shockingly talented, worthy of being the successor chosen by Providence and the one that Shadow Sect had no choice but to choose. In the next battle, I won't make the mistake of underestimating the enemy." Jing Lan was not an impetuous person. After being awakened by Fairy Myrtle, she immediately regained her composure and calmly admitted her mistake as a celestial court expert. Compared to Fang Yuan, there is another more troublesome matter. Fairy Myrtle tactfully told Jing Lan about the matter of Fang Yuan selling the breastbone in jewel yellow skies. Jing Lan's mind, which had just calmed down, immediately surged with great waves of anger. "What? This guy actually took my sternum out to sell? Preposterous. Simply preposterous." Jing Lan immediately communicated with Jewel Yellow Skies, and sure enough, when she saw her breastbone, she flew into a rage and her eyes turned bloodshot. Soon after, Jing Lan saw the scene of Fang Yuan beating her up, and she gritted her teeth so hard that they almost shattered. "Damned guy, if you fall into my hands in the future, I will definitely pull out your tendons, flay your skin, and grind your bones to ashy." However, this kid Fang Yuan actually took it out to sell. He is really cautious. He only took a small portion of the image, he is simply shameless to the extreme, he has no shame at all. Jing Lan breathed roughly through her nostrils, trying hard to calm down as she pondered. He definitely consumed a lot of energy in this battle. Taking out 3 of my breastbones to sell, isn't his foundation greatly damaged and he urgently needs to replenish it? Then I will do as you wish and buy it. First, if Jing Lan bought her breastbone, she could completely reattach it, and it would have an extremely significant effect on her injuries. Second, the longer this image and breastbone were hung in jewel yellow skies, the deeper the blow to the celestial court. Since ancient times, the celestial court had always been recognized as the #1 power of humanity. Now that Fang Yuan was selling Jing Lan's 3 breastbones, it was like a slap to the celestial court's face. Fairy Myrtle couldn't make the first move. After all, Jing Lan was the person involved. Jing Lan also understood Fairy Myrtle's meaning. She urged out a will, hid her identity, and swallowed her anger. She then asked Fang Yuan's will, "How much are you selling these breastbones? Who are you?" "I come from the Eastern Sea." Jing Lan gritted her teeth. She didn't expect the Grand Thunder Ghost True Monarch to be so anonymous. "I am very interested in these 3 breastbones." Fang Yuan's will smiled. "There are many people who are interested." Jing Lan's will gritted her teeth. "But there aren't many people who are willing to pay such a high price." Fang Yuan's will, however, didn't ask for the price as she expected, instead shaking his head. "No matter how high the price is, I won't sell." "You won't sell? If you won't sell, then why are you hanging it?" Jing Lan immediately had a very bad feeling. Fang Yuan's will sneered. "I'm hanging it for fun. What can you do about it?" "Goo." Jing Lan couldn't bear it anymore. She coughed out a mouthful of blood. "Fang Yuan, if I, Jing Lan, don't kill you, I am not human." More than 10 days later, Lang Ya Blessed Land's immortal formation shone brightly, soaring into the sky. The light slowly dissipated, and Fang Yuan slowly walked out of the immortal formation. After defeating Jing Lan, Fang Yuan had been using the immortal killer move Yama, traveling day and night without rest until he finally returned to Lang Ya Blessed Land. Because Fang Yuan did not know the true location of Lang Ya Blessed Land, he had to rely on the immortal formation to directly teleport back this time. "Inside the immortal aperture, I won't need Yama to conceal myself." Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air, dispelling Yama. "Elder Fang Yuan, you are finally back." Land Spirit of Langya was already standing outside the immortal formation. Seeing that Fang Yuan had dispelled Yama and revealed his true appearance, he immediately welcomed him with a smile. This time, when Lang Ya Blessed Land was invaded, Fang Yuan did not contribute much. But why was Land Spirit of Langya so enthusiastic? Fang Yuan, however, knew clearly that it was because he had sold Thunder Ghost True Monarch's 3 rib bones in jewel yellow skies. Fang Yuan did not sell them. On one hand, he wanted to deal a blow to Celestial Court's reputation. On the other hand, he wanted to obtain Lang Ya Blessed Land. Lang Ya Blessed Land was invaded by Feng Joga's group. It was in a pathetic state, and they had offended Celestial Court. These last days, the Northern Plains Variant Human Alliance's higher-ups were under immense pressure. They were in a constant state of anxiety. After all, these variant humans had once dominated a region, suppressing the human race beneath their feet. It was Celestial Court that led the human race to defeat these variant human races, creating the current era of humanity. Thus, these 4 races variant humans were actually afraid of being beaten by the humans. They were hiding in one place and surviving secretly. Now that they had offended Celestial Court, it was easy to imagine how much pressure they were under. At this juncture, Fang Yuan beat up Thunder Ghost True Monarch. The battle was displayed in jewel yellow skies for the whole world to see. Jing Lan was a famous rank 8 expert in history. Such a person was also defeated by Fang Yuan. This was extremely good news to the variant human GU immortals. Once the news spread, it was like sunlight shone upon them, dispelling the gloominess in their hearts. "Elder Fang Yuan, you did well this time. Previously, when I asked the Stone Golem tribe to borrow the primordial rock dragon, the Stone Golem tribe was always evasive and ambiguous, but when your news came, their attitude clearly changed." Land Spirit of Langya secretly transmitted to Fang Yuan, winking, "Now that you are back, with you around, we can force the Rockman tribe to lend us the immemorial rock dragon. By then, we will have 3 rank 8 battle strengths. It will not be a problem to relocate Lang Ya Blessed Land." Land Spirit of Langya was excited. Fang Yuan glanced at the Land Spirit. He was not as optimistic as the latter. Celestial Court definitely had a lot of arrangements. Relocating Lang Ya Blessed Land was not a simple matter. But at this moment, he was not in a hurry to explain the details to Land Spirit of Langya. Fang Yuan turned his gaze towards the group of variant humans behind Land Spirit of Langya. These people were the GU immortals of the 4 races. Fang Yuan had returned this time to create a commotion, thus they came to welcome him with smiles on their faces. Snowman GU immortal Bing Yuan praised, "Elder Fang Yuan, you are truly a heavenly genius. Even the Grand Thunder Ghost True Monarch is not your match." This battle has already established your throne as the number 1 rank 7 of humanity. Bing Yuan was overjoyed. Fang Yuan was engaged to a female immortal of the snowman tribe. He could be considered half a snowman. This was her political opinion. The stronger Fang Yuan was, the happier she would be. All along, Fang Yuan and Feng Zhouge had been mentioned together. After all, they both had rank 7 cultivation level but were special existences that could fight rank 8s. But now, Fang Yuan's battle video showed that he was able to beat Thunder Ghost True Monarch into such a pathetic state. Everyone was shocked and shocked. Chapter 1573. Battles depended on who the opponent was. If Fang Yuan defeated rank 6 or 7 GU immortals, nobody would be surprised. But his opponent was the famous rank 8 GU immortal in history, Thunder Ghost True Monarch. That was a different story. Actually, Fang Yuan was in a pathetic state in this battle, but it was this battle that established his reputation as the number 1 rank 7 in the world. He suppressed Feng Zhouge. One could say, this was the battle that made Fang Yuan famous in the world. Just from this battle alone, even those rank 8 GU immortals would have to pay attention to this rank 7 monster, Fang Yuan. Of course, this was all part of Fang Yuan's plan. Even though Fang Yuan lost this battle and retreated, it was not like he did not gain anything. Victory or defeat in a battle was not important in essence. What was important was the losses and gains after the battle. Even though Fang Yuan lost this battle, his gains were not small. The value of the 3 rib bones was not in themselves, but the meaning behind them. Fang Yuan used these spoils of war to the extreme. The 5 regions GU immortal world was in an uproar because of this. Not to mention Chu Du's complex emotions, Wu Yong's ashen expression, and Lu Weiyin's sigh. After Fang Yuan returned to Lang Wei Blessed Land, he immediately felt a huge difference. These variant human GU immortals, including Land Spirit of Langya, had a huge change in attitude towards him. They were truly in awe of him. Especially when the Celestial Court was watching them, Fang Yuan became the pillar of support for these people. After all, the immemorial rock dragon was only an immemorial desolate beast. Even though the ancient battle formation Heavenly Giant Solar had rank 8 battle strength, it could not match a true rank 8 GU immortal. But now, Fang Yuan beat up such a rank 8 GU immortal, especially when Thunder Ghost True Monarch was publicly recognized as an expert among rank 8. At this time, who cared about Fang Yuan's rank 7 cultivation level? The battle results were right in front of them. Because of this, when Fang Yuan returned to Lang Wei Blessed Land, these people eagerly came to welcome him. Fang Yuan's attitude was slightly cold. He only said a few words to the Land Spirit of Langya, Bing Yuan, and the others before nodding at Shui-Er. Shui-Er immediately lowered her head shyly, while the Snowman GU Immortals smiled happily. The variant human GU Immortals suggested setting up a banquet to welcome Fang Yuan, but Fang Yuan rejected them without hesitation. The current situation is not good. We need to make full use of our time and get through this crisis. Fang Yuan said plainly, but the variant human GU Immortals agreed with him. Fang Yuan's status was really different now. These variant human GU Immortals were truly treating him as a rank 8 GU Immortal. Earlier, they were on equal footing with Fang Yuan, but now, they were lowering their heads and speaking in a submissive manner. On one hand, Fang Yuan had great battle strength. He could beat up Thunder Ghost True Monarch. On the other hand, they were facing a strong enemy. They needed help from Fang Yuan. Everyone, please leave. I want to speak to First Elder in private. Fang Yuan did not stand on ceremony. He waved for the immortals to leave. Fang Yuan secretly transmitted to the Land Spirit of Langya, I am Lang Wei Sect's Supreme Elder First. I am also a member of the Alliance. These words were said with sincerity. Lang Wei Land Spirit's mood immediately became joyful, thinking that Fang Yuan had not forgotten his roots. He was still one of them. Earlier, when Fang Yuan forcefully persuaded him to ask for the refinement path true meaning, the mood of the immortals lessened by a lot. The group of immortals naturally would not be insensible and dispersed. Land Spirit of Langya grabbed Fang Yuan's arm, vanishing on the spot. At the next moment, the two of them appeared in First Cloud City. Using your perceivable Dao Immortal GU, we found that their method was indeed planted in the blessed land. To relocate Lang Ya blessed land, we need to get rid of these harmful Tao marks first. Land spirit of Langya was deeply worried. Fang Yuan felt strange. With First Supreme Elder's refinement path attainment, refining these Tao marks should be your specialty, right? Land spirit of Langya was troubled. Celestial court is truly worthy of being the celestial court. Their method this time is very special. I have used almost all of my methods, but I am helpless against these Tao marks. Fang Yuan's eyes shined with bright light. The celestial court was truly well prepared. They had deep foundations. Since they could plant this method, they were not worried about being discovered or broken. Maybe Fairy Myrtle had already calculated land spirit of Langya's ability. I wonder if my self-cleansing killer move will work. Fang Yuan was quite confident in this method. After all, inextinguishable star target had been successfully broken by Fang Yuan using this move. But at this moment, Fang Yuan did not want to take it out to test. He said to Land Spirit of Langya, "Since that is the case, I will say it directly. First Supreme Elder, please take out the refinement path true meaning for me. After I become a refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster, I will definitely be able to resolve this problem." Lang Ya Land Spirit's expression immediately changed. This refinement path true meaning was the most precious treasure in his heart. Now that he had to take it out and give it to a human GU immortal like Fang Yuan, he was in an awkward mood and was extremely reluctant to part with it. However, since he had already promised Fang Yuan, and with the grim situation in front of him, even if he was unwilling, he could only nod. Thus, after a while, Fang Yuan finally saw long-hair ancestors' refinement path true meaning. True meaning was also a type of will, but it was very special. This was also the first time Fang Yuan had seen the existence of true meaning. This true meaning had the appearance of long-hair ancestor sitting cross-legged, but its body was shining brightly and was translucent. It did not have a physical body, it was as if it was made of pure diamond. Most wills could move on their own, expending themselves to think and do other activities. But the true meaning was completely still, it was like a statue, not moving at all. But precisely because of this characteristic, this true meaning could exist until now. If it was like other wills that could move on their own and think continuously, it would have been used up long ago. You, take it. Land Spirit of Langya's expression was extremely complex. He stared at long-hair true meaning for a long while before sighing bitterly and saying to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan nodded. He took a step forward and stared with his eyes. Immediately, a suction force appeared out of nowhere and sucked this long-hair true meaning into his mind. Long-hair true meaning entered Fang Yuan's mind, immediately bursting out with endless radiance. The diamond-like radiance shone on Fang Yuan's mind, forming a grand scene of light. Fang Yuan immediately sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. His expression was solemn. He started to use many wisdom path methods. Immediately, there were huge waves in his mind. Countless thoughts and all kinds of wills rushed towards long-hair true meaning, colliding with it, absorbing, learning and comprehending it. Everything went smoothly. After several hours, Fang Yuan completely digested this long-hair true meaning, converting it into his own accumulation. These were all long-hair ancestors' understanding of refinement path, and now they had all become Fang Yuan's cultivation resources. Fang Yuan's refinement path attainment had always been ordinary, but now it had leaped up, becoming a quasi-supreme grandmaster in one go. This is simply ascending to heaven in one step. Even when dream realms appeared, during the 5 regions chaotic war, and I explored dream realms, I did not have such an effect. Even Fang Yuan himself was deeply moved. His gains this time were extremely huge. Although he had completely digested the refinement path true meaning, Fang Yuan still sat on the ground, not moving, wholeheartedly comprehending his advancement. Refinement path. This was a special path. GU immortals who cultivated this path were most proficient in GU refinement. GU cultivation, from start to finish, had 3 basic elements. That was nurturing GU, using GU, and refining GU. Right now, Fang Yuan was already an outstanding expert in GU refinement. Among all the GU immortals in the 5 regions, in terms of refinement path understanding, almost no one could match the current Fang Yuan. However, attainment level alone is not enough. What I lack now is experience in GU refinement, refinement path immortal GU, and refinement path killer moves. Fang Yuan still had a clear understanding of himself. But as long as I practice these contents, my progress will definitely be extremely rapid. After all, I am already a quasi-supreme Grandmaster. To think that my theft path attainment, which was only Great Grandmaster not long ago, has now surpassed me in refinement path and become a quasi-supreme Grandmaster. Fang Yuan closed his eyes and pondered, carefully comprehending the changes brought about by his refinement path attainment. He casually flipped through any GU recipe. Mortal GU recipes were easy to understand. With just one glance, Fang Yuan could see through the profundities contained within, and with just a thought, he could raise this GU recipe to its optimal level. Next, he flipped through immortal GU recipes. Immortal GU recipes were naturally much more abundant than mortal GU recipes, and the difficulty was also much higher. But this was not a problem for Fang Yuan. He found that as long as he focused on learning, he only needed to think about some difficult problems and he would be able to understand the logic behind them. For some of the more complex rank 8 immortal GU recipes, Fang Yuan needed to use wisdom path methods to think about them continuously. But because he had quasi-supreme wisdom path attainment as a foundation, he would not think wrongly. Sometimes, he did not even need to deduce, he could refine immortal GU with just this intuition in his heart, and determine whether an immortal GU recipe was correct or not. Facing an immortal GU recipe that he understood completely, he could instantly think of a large number of modification plans, and the more he thought about it, the more modification plans he could come up with. As for remnant recipes, in the past, he needed to use the light of wisdom to deduce them, but now, the difficulty had greatly decreased. Of course, he was not omnipotent in this aspect. Many remnant recipes' deductions still required the attainment level of that path. In history, there were only 3 Supreme Grandmasters in refinement path. I have quasi-supreme Grandmaster attainment now, not to mention the current era. Even in the long river of history, just based on refinement path attainment, I am definitely in the top 10. Although Fang Yuan's battle strength did not change, his vision was completely different. It had almost risen to the highest level of GU cultivation. Standing at this height, Fang Yuan was simply overlooking the entire GU cultivation process. Countless comprehensions surged in his heart. GU paths nurturing, usage, and refinement are actually one. GU worm nurturing contains refinement techniques, refinement contains usage techniques, and usage also contains the profundities of nurturing and refinement techniques. The current Fang Yuan could completely deduce how to raise a GU worm and what effect it had from a complete and correct GU recipe. By drawing parallels, he could also deduce how to refine GU worms from nurturing and usage techniques. Wait, I understand. Actually, any killer move, be it mortal killer moves or immortal killer moves, can be considered a GU refinement remnant recipe. Chapter 1574. This was one of the highest pursuits of refinement path, to combine all kinds of killer moves into a single GU worm. For example, mortal killer move self-strength. This move was a strength path killer move, created by Northern Plains GU immortal Suzian for her daughter He Lulan. Its core was strength path, but it also involved soul path and chi path. Once it was activated, it could create a human phantom. The phantom was lifelike. It was a depiction of the GU master's subconscious. Moreover, this strength path phantom could chase after the enemy on its own. It had intelligence. There were a total of 40 to 50 GU worms that formed this killer move. According to Fang Yuan's current understanding of refinement path, any killer move, be it mortal or immortal, could be considered an incomplete recipe for GU refinement. That is to say, the contents of self-strength killer move could be continuously deleted and added in all kinds of GU materials, perfecting it until it formed a GU recipe for self-strength GU. When the GU recipe is perfected and self-strength GU is refined, just by activating this GU worm, it could create a strength path phantom. The benefits of this were obvious. The killer move would be condensed into a GU worm, the number of GU worms would be reduced to 1. When the GU master uses it, not only would it be convenient and fast, The Prime Val Essence expenditure would also be much lower than the previous killer move. Another example was Immortal Killer Move Myriad Self. This move was created by Fang Yuan in this life, enslavement and strength path. It was raised from the fusion of Dragon Horse Spirit, 3 heads 6 arms, Rat Plague, Lightning Storm, Leopard Rush, Horse Stamp, 3 Hearts Combination Soul, Beast Phantom Encirclement, 6-arm Heavenly Zombie King, and other killer moves. The core Immortal GU were Self-Strength, Pulling Mountain, Pulling Water, and Cleanse Soul. The supplementary GU were All-Out Effort GU, Bitter Strength GU, Borrow Strength GU, Self-Reliance GU, Refine Essence Spirit GU, Amplify Effect GU, Earth Strength GU, Fire, Water, Wind, Lightning, and other GU, Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus GU, Lurking Soul Coat GU, Breath Concealment GU, Group Strength GU, and all kinds of Soul Path Mortal GU. Evidently, this killer move had a lot of contents. It was very troublesome to activate. It was also because Fang Yuan was very familiar with it. It had already become an instinct of his body. He could use it freely in battle. But in fact, it contained countless things. It was very complex. What if this killer move was improved and refined into a GU? Myriad Self Immortal GU. Evidently, this was very convenient. It was too convenient. As long as Fang Yuan instilled his immortal essence and activated this GU worm, he would be able to create tens of thousands of strength path phantoms. It was convenient and fast. In the past, Fang Yuan wasn't qualified at all. But now that he had become a refinement path quasi-supreme master, he had the ability to reach this level, refining all kinds of killer moves into GU worms. Fang Yuan's heart palpitated with excitement, but he did not lose his cool. He remained calm and continued to think deeply. I already have the ability to turn killer moves into GU worms. However, some killer moves can be condensed into a GU worm, like Myriad Self. But some killer moves cannot, like Purple Blood River Formation, Ignited Thought Flying Rock, and others. If these killer moves are condensed to the limit, they will need several immortal GU. In the future, when I activate these immortal GU, I will be able to coordinate them and activate killer moves successfully. However, there are pros and cons to this method. The advantage is that it's much faster and more convenient. The drain on my mind and spirit is greatly reduced, but there are also disadvantages. Firstly, for example, after Myriad Self is condensed into a single Myriad Self Immortal GU, other Immortal GU might be used as GU materials to be used during the GU refinement process. Moreover, activating Myriad Self Immortal GU alone might not be as powerful as the killer move Myriad Self. The killer move Myriad Self required so many Immortal GU and supplementary Mortal GU, but there was only one Myriad Self GU worm. If it was only rank 6 or 7, it would have limited Dao marks and would not have enough power. And there is another point. If there is only one GU worm, it will be easy to target. Killer moves might be complex, but it will be much harder for others to deduce and decipher them. Killer moves could be continuously modified and upgraded. For example, Myriad Self Killer Move had variation moves like Strength Path Giant Hand and Reverse Flow Protection Seal. But if there was only one Myriad Self GU worm, there would be no such upgrade. Of course, in general, condensing it into a single GU worm has more benefits. Because it can be used as a core immortal GU to construct killer moves. This way, the power can be raised and it will not be easily countered. Even if some immortal GU are used as GU materials during the refinement process, I can refine them again. This ability would be of great help to Fang Yuan. Ignoring everything else, just Myriad Self Killer Move alone, Fang Yuan's Reverse Flow Protection Seal was a variation of this killer move. All along, it was very troublesome for Fang Yuan to activate Reverse Flow Protection Seal. He needed some time to prepare the killer move, the steps were complicated and if there was a slight mistake, the killer move would fail and he would be heavily injured. But if he had Myriad Self Immortal GU, Fang Yuan could modify Reverse Flow Protection Seal, the steps would be greatly simplified and he would be able to activate Reverse Flow Protection Seal quickly. That way, his battle strength would rise by a huge margin. Fang Yuan calculated, he had a lot of killer moves, but only a few were truly useful. Myriad Self Killer Move could be condensed and refined, Purple Thought Insight Starlight could be condensed into several immortal GU, Ancient Sword Dragon Transformation could also be condensed into one GU Worm. By then, Myriad Self-Immortal GU and Ancient Sword Dragon Immortal GU would be able to unleash the killer move Myriad Dragon with just 2 Immortal GU. Divination Tortoise Transformation, Self-Cleansing, 180 Slaves, Enslavement After Victorious Battle, and others could all be condensed and refined. As he researched and thought about this, Fang Yuan had a new understanding. Wait, be it killer moves or GU refinement, they are all using Tao in essence. Doesn't my reverse flow protection seal use the reverse flow river? Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's Orderly Well killer move, didn't it use City Well? City Well and reverse flow river are not GU worms, why can they be used? Isn't it because they are secluded domains of heaven and earth, they contain a lot of Tao marks, we can use them? Fang Yuan thought about it again, the nurturing, use, and refinement of GU worms were all Tao in essence. There were too many GU cultivation paths, fire path, water path, metal path, wood path, strength path, wisdom path, soul path, rule path, poison path, theft path. These paths talk about the nurturing, use, and refinement of GU worms, they are actually describing a type of Tao in this world. Suddenly, a classic phrase of the GU cultivation world flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. Man is the spirit of all living beings, GU are the essence of heaven and earth. There had never been a moment where Fang Yuan had such a deep understanding of this phrase. I want to condense killer moves into GU worms, I need to reduce the GU worms and add GU materials to fuse them into one. Immortal GU are fragments of the great Tao, GU materials are the accumulation of Tao marks, as long as the paths are the same, they can replace each other. Looking at Reverse Flow Protection Seal and Orderly Well, the reason why they can be used as killer moves is because Reverse Flow River and City Well have too many Tao marks, they can replace the effects of GU worms. From this point, these two killer moves have already transformed from killer moves to GU recipes. Many of his doubts were cleared up as Fang Yuan continued to ponder. Refinement path was actually quite special, although it was a single path, it involved all kinds of paths. Fang Yuan's attainment of Quasi-Supreme Grandmaster in Refinement Path gave him much deeper and deeper insights than any other path. Think about it, if I use Landscape as before Immortal GU to repair Danghun Mountain, on the surface, it looks like a GU worm is working, but it can also be seen as the killer move, Landscape as before, activating. Any killer move can be seen as a GU refinement remnant recipe, thus changing the angle, this is also GU refinement. It is just that I am not refining a GU worm, but a rank 9 immortal material, Danghun Mountain. Fang Yuan only had rank 7 cultivation level, but he could actually refine a rank 9 immortal material. Don't forget, the most crucial thing here was Orderly Well, it was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's creation. And back then, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had used Orderly Well on Danghun Mountain, it was a rank 9 killer move. Understanding this, Fang Yuan had many new ideas about repairing Danghun Mountain. Since Danghun Mountain can be repaired, I can use it as the core to imitate Reverse Flow River and form an immortal killer move. Oh, I understand now. In Spectral Soul's true inheritance, the peak of soul cultivation is the 3-6 joint Thousand Arms Demon Souls. Isn't this a man-made secluded domain of heaven and earth? There is also Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's rank 9 killer move Ghostly Concealment, it has countless Tao marks, they work together and can be activated without any immortal essence, this is also a man-made secluded domain of heaven and earth. All along, Fang Yuan did not understand why Ghostly Concealment did not need immortal essence and could be activated without stopping. But now, he realized. Did Danghun Mountain need immortal essence? No. Did Luo Po Valley need immortal essence? It also did not. Spectral Soul Venerable resisted calamities and tribulations with his soul strength, even though he used immortal essence to activate killer moves, in essence, he did not need immortal essence to have absolute battle strength. But there was one point, it did not mean that by casually stacking all sorts of Tao marks together, as long as there was enough of them, they could form a secluded domain of heaven and earth, they could form a killer move like Ghostly Concealment. Tao marks also needed to be matched. Wasn't this matching GU refinement? The required GU materials needed to be carefully selected. Wasn't it just nurturing GU? The required ingredients also needed to be of a certain standard. Wasn't it just using GU? The coordination between GU worms was the coordination of Dao marks. Thinking like this, after a long while, Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes. 3 days and 3 nights had passed. He had only taken a few hours to digest the refinement path true meaning, but he had used 3 days and 3 nights to comprehend it. Fang Yuan's black eyes were shining brightly, they were deep and unfathomable. You. Seeing Fang Yuan's gaze, land spirit of Langya became uncertain. What's wrong with me? Fang Yuan asked. Land spirit of Langya sighed. At that moment, your aura made me feel like I was looking at the former giant sun immortal and thieving heaven demon Venerable. Giant sun immortal, thieving heaven demon Venerable. Any GU Venerable was a publicly recognized supreme grandmaster in the world. Fang Yuan's refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster attainment level was already at the edge of their level. He was no longer looking at the towering mountains, he could see the scenery at this level. Chapter 1575. Slumbering Lightning Python. Land Spirit of Langya shouted angrily. At the next moment, lightning flashed and interweaved like water, forming a huge lightning python that resembled a dragon. Lightning was yang, python was yin. The lightning python contained yin and yang, it dispelled the berserk nature of the lightning, making it look gentle. Thus, the lightning python was not sinister, it was elegant and cute instead. It slithered and slowly coiled around a stone mountain that resembled an elephant. The python's body continued to rub against the stone, grinding it into the finest powder. In refinement path, there were 4 publicly recognized immortal moves that were most suitable for processing immortal materials. Slumbering Lightning Python was one of them. Land Spirit of Langya originated from Long Hair Ancestor, he naturally had a good grasp of it. This killer move was at rank 8 because it used a rank 8 refinement path immortal GU. Without a rank 8 Slumbering Lightning Python, this rank 8 immortal material, Elephant Armor Mountain, could not be processed. This was an information path immemorial immortal material. Land Spirit of Langya had been processing immortal materials for several hours already, more than 10 rank 8 immortal materials had been processed in front of Elephant Armor Mountain. These immortal materials were of all kinds, they were all information path immortal materials. Slumbering Lightning Python gradually dissipated, Elephant Armor Mountain was also completely crushed into powder. These powder and other immortal materials fused into a lump, under the effect of Land Spirit of Langya's method, it formed a constantly rotating rainbow whirlpool. Alright, disperse the immortal formation. Land Spirit of Langya let out a breath of turbid air and said with extreme fatigue. Immediately, a hairy man GU Immortal took the lead and dispersed this refinement path immortal formation. Once the immortal formation was gone, the aura of the rainbow whirlpool spread. Wisdom GU was like a cat that smelled fish, it immediately flew over and plunged into the rainbow whirlpool, immersing itself in it. So Wisdom GU has such a characteristic. Fang Yuan saw this and sighed. Rumors say that the GU recipe for refining Wisdom GU contains a large number of information path immortal materials. In nature, wild Wisdom GU can only complete its advancement in places filled with information path Dao marks. Land Spirit of Langya said. With that said, Fang Yuan immediately understood. As for Wisdom Gu's recipe, be it Spectral Soul's True Inheritance or Lang Ya True Inheritance, they did not record it. Only in the Celestial Court. Fang Yuan could not control the wild Wisdom GU, but he could move this rainbow whirlpool remotely. As for that 4,000-year lifespan GU, it was already in place after refinement path true meaning. Great Elder, thank you for taking action personally this time. I will repay the debt I owe you, Fang Yuan said sincerely to the Land Spirit of Langya. The method to teleport Wisdom GU, although simple, had a high price. All sorts of rank 8 immortal materials were used to create this temporary rainbow whirlpool. Not long after, the whirlpool would gradually dissipate. Other than deceiving the Wisdom GU into shifting its position, there would be no benefits. Of course, Fang Yuan would pay for this. After discussing with the land spirit of Langya, both sides came to an agreement. Fang Yuan would owe them for now, there was no need to repay them now. After all, Fang Yuan had just gone through a huge battle, his immortal essence was almost depleted, he needed to replenish it. This was also the reason why Fang Yuan's status was rising. If it were before, he would not have such generous benefits. But now, after he beat up Thunder Ghost True Monarch, he had the upper hand in the negotiation with the land spirit of Langya. The situation is urgent, I need to go into closed cultivation and deduce with all my strength, I need to find a way to get out of this predicament as soon as possible. Fang Yuan said. Then I will not disturb you. Land spirit of Langya had a look of joy, the exhaustion on his face lessened by a lot. Fang Yuan returned to his cloud city. Speaking of which, Feng Joga and the rest had invaded Lang Ya Blessed Land, they had also taken away several cloud cities. Fang Yuan's cloud city was lucky enough to avoid this calamity, it was preserved. Of course, this might also be related to Fang Yuan's strong luck. Fang Yuan was in closed cultivation in his cloud city, the other variant human GU immortals wanted to get in touch with him, but Fang Yuan did not want to meet them, even the snowmen were the same. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture. Immortal killer move, strength reversing life and death. This move is a strength path killer move, it is not suitable for the time path clone, I can modify it into time path in the future. Fang Yuan's time path clone instantly turned into an immortal zombie, arriving in front of Wisdom GU. A moment later, Wisdom GU burst out with the light of wisdom. Fang Yuan's time path clone sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, bathing in the light as he thought rapidly. The Dao marks that Feng Joga left behind in Lang Ya Blessed Land were placed aside by Fang Yuan. Compared to Lang Ya Blessed Land's safety, the latter was naturally more important. Right now, the most important thing is to raise the killer move Yama. Otherwise, once I leave the immortal aperture, I will need to maintain Yama, the immortal essence expenditure will be too huge. If Yama was not raised, Fang Yuan would be too passive. If his location was exposed and the Celestial Court continued to make deductions, more secrets would be exposed. This was not a situation that Fang Yuan wanted to see. Earlier, Fang Yuan had thought about it, rather than using Ghost Official Garment to resist the Celestial Court's deductions, he might as well use Ghostly Concealment. Yama was a successful attempt. But now, the Celestial Court had too many clues about Fang Yuan, the current Yama could no longer protect Fang Yuan. This calculation went on for more than a month. Of course, the light of wisdom did not always exist during this period. The entire process was very smooth. Because Fang Yuan was a great grandmaster in theft path attainment level, his refinement path attainment level was quasi-supreme grandmaster, ghostly concealment, ghost official garment, and other killer moves were completely grasped. Only his soul path attainment level was lacking, it was a hindrance. The biggest obstacle was in the middle and late stages. But after Fang Yuan added rank 8 Immortal GU Soul Beast token, it was resolved. Yama's killer move changed greatly, Fang Yuan renamed it Yama Emperor. Yama Emperor's killer move had 4 main components. One was Ghostly Concealment, one was Ghost Official Garment, one was Soul Beast token, and the last was Myriad Self. Even though Yama Emperor deduced it, it can only be considered a preliminary creation, I still need to try to activate it and make adjustments. I will let my main body do this. As for the clone, I will continue to deduce how to deal with the Dao marks left behind by Feng Joga. Just like this, from the time Fang Yuan returned, half a month had passed in Lang Ya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan finally came out of seclusion. The clone's deduction task was completed, Fang Yuan found a way to deal with the Dao marks left behind by Feng Joga. He handed this method to Land Spirit of Langya. The latter's expression changed when he saw it, he scolded Celestial Court for being sinister and crafty. It turned out that if these Dao marks were removed using refinement path methods, it would instead strengthen these Dao marks. Self-cleansing was also ineffective. Celestial Court was inferior to Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in terms of soul path, but its refinement path foundation was not weaker than Lang Ya sect. After all, among the 3 supreme grandmasters in history, Only long-hair ancestor was a hairy man, the other two were humans, their inheritances were mostly taken away by Celestial Court. Fang Yuan was a quasi-supreme grandmaster, he knew about this plot and provided the simplest method to deal with it. When Lang Ya blessed land moved, these Dao marks could be quickly removed using Fang Yuan's method. Other than that, other methods would take more than 10 years. Thus, the problem returned to the original point, that was Lang Ya blessed land's relocation. What do we do? Maybe Celestial Court is purposely making this arrangement to force us to relocate our blessed land. Land spirit of Langya was very worried. Fang Yuan also had such worries. Celestial Court had not made a move during this period of time, but it did not mean they had given up. It was highly likely that they had already made arrangements and were waiting for Lang Ya blessed land to expose its location. But if they did not relocate, Celestial Court would find its location sooner or later. It seems we can only prepare to forcefully relocate. This is Myriad Self-Immortal Gu's recipe. If I refine it, it will be a huge help to my battle strength. Fang Yuan said as he handed a GU recipe to Land Spirit of Langya. This was naturally the result of his most recent deductions. Relying on his refinement path quasi-supreme grandmaster attainment, Fang Yuan was confident this was already the best plan in the world. Myriad Self-Immortal GU. Land Spirit of Langya took a look and his attention was immediately attracted. Even though his obsession was different, it still originated from long-hair ancestor. If you refine this immortal GU recipe, it will be at least rank 7. However, there are several immortal materials inside that are also very rare in Lang Ya's treasury. Even jewel yellow skies will not be able to purchase them in a short period of time. Land Spirit of Langya smiled bitterly. No matter, I will make arrangements for these immortal materials. Fang Yuan waved his hand and smiled with a deep gaze. With the brand new killer move Yama Emperor, he planned to use this chance to test the power of this move in battle. Chapter 1576. In the southeast of the northern icy plain, north of Inkman City, northwest of Poison Grassland, and south of Meng tribe's territory, there was a place called Autumn Blade Plain. The terrain here was flat and barren, it was a wondrous land that was naturally formed. Meng too walked on Autumn Blade Plain step by step. He was tall and sturdy, his skin had a copper luster, he wore a vest that exposed his shoulders and his pants were rolled up, revealing his calves. He was walking barefoot without shoes. Step by step, the flat ground was as sharp as a blade. As Meng too stepped on this layer of silvery white soil, it was like he was walking on a mountain of blades, every step leaving behind bright red footprints. But his expression was like a stone statue, there were no changes, he was silent like iron, his eyes were shut and his brows were slightly furrowed, he had doubts in his heart. This Autumn Blade Plain is filled with blade path Dao marks, it naturally gives birth to countless edge GU. I have been walking here and there for several years. What am I lacking that I cannot break through to Blade Path attainment level? Blade Path was a very small path, it could not be compared to Metal Path, Fire Path, Earth Path, and others. Speaking of Blade Path, one had to talk about Sword Path. These two paths had deep grudges, but they also intertwined with each other. Because the source of these two paths was the same, Edge GU. Regarding Edge GU, the legends of Renzu had clear records. Renzu walked in ordinary abyss, some places here were muddy swamps, it was easy to get stuck in the mud and the stench was overwhelming. Some places were filled with thorns and thorns, Renzu's body was full of injuries from the thorns. There were also places underground where Edge GU were buried. When Renzu stepped on them, the soles of his feet were cut by the sharp edges, the wounds were wide and blood flowed out, it was extremely painful when he walked. Edge GU was the source of Blade Path and Sword Path. The natural world also produced many wild Edge GU. Autumn Blade Plain was one of the few Edge GU production areas in the 5 regions, it was controlled by the Superforce Meng tribe. Meng too cultivated Blade Path, he had rank 7 cultivation level and peak battle strength, he was a genius when he was young, he grew rapidly and was a famous expert in Northern Plains GU Immortal World, one of the pillars of Meng tribe's battle strength. Several years ago, he had taken the initiative to request the clan's GU Immortals to guard this Autumn Blade Plain, On one hand, it was to look after this important resource point for the clan, on the other hand, it was for his own cultivation. His Saber Dao realm was stuck at the quasi-great grandmaster level. Meng too wanted to borrow the power of autumn blade plains to imitate the actions of the human ancestor, and allow his Saber Dao realm to truly step into the ranks of great grandmaster. But in these last few years, although he had some gains in his heart, there was always a layer of gauze that prevented him from stepping into the ranks of great grandmasters. Meng too had a persevering temperament. Although he had not seen any results for several years, he did not have the slightest thought of giving up. Sigh, how difficult is breaking through to the great grandmaster realm. The Grand Supreme Elders in the clan all praised me as a rare saber genius that only appears once in 1,000 years, but with my talent, I've only been a quasi-great grandmaster for several hundred years. Although it feels like there's a layer of gauze between us, it's so close yet so far away. It's harder than ascending to the heavens. However, I still have to continue walking. This method is still effective. One day, I'll definitely become a Saber Dao Grandmaster. Who are you? Right at this time, the GU formation that covered the whole of Autumn Blade Plains suddenly collapsed, revealing the clear blue sky. A figure that was like a demonic god charged towards Meng Tu without saying a word, with a vast demonic aura. Such guts. Meng Tu's hair immediately stood on end in anger. He roared like thunder and did not dodge. His hands were like blades as he brazenly counterattacked. With a loud sound, the newcomer was unmoving like a mountain, while Meng Tu was sent flying by the huge force. This immortal killer move of mine might not have any aura, but its power is restrained to the extreme. Even the defenses of rank 7 GU immortals can be destroyed by it. To think that this person is completely unharmed after taking my attack head-on, this is a great enemy. Meng Tu was inwardly shocked. He quickly stabilized his footing and stared at the newcomer, shouting angrily, "State your name? You dare to invade my Meng tribe's territory? Ha ha ha." Fang Yuan laughed wildly. His tone had already changed. "Meng Tu, of course you don't know me, but you don't need to know me, because dead people don't need to know much." Myriad self-immortal Gu's recipe required a vast number of edge GU, and even more, a special rank 7 immortal material deep under Autumn Blade Plain, drinking blade wine. This wine was not naturally produced, it was formed from Meng Tu's bloodstains over the years. After they seeped deep into the ground, they merged with the blade path Dao marks here and gradually formed into this wondrous item. In Fang Yuan's previous life, in order to break through and enter Blade Path Great Grandmaster Realm, Meng Tu cultivated here day and night without sleep, but he did not find an opportunity. Meng Tu could not break through, so he wanted to imitate Ren Zhu. He wanted to stab edge GU into his heart and comprehend Blade Path more deeply. When the killer move he created was not complete and had a hidden and serious flaw, Meng Tu's mentality gradually changed and he often fell into a state of madness. Meng Tu also knew that this was not appropriate, but he was obsessed with it and continued to cultivate, hiding it from others. When the 5 regions chaotic war started, Meng Tu participated in it, but the flaw in the battlefield erupted. He fell into madness and killed his own tribe's GU immortals. After Meng Tu woke up, he destroyed the corpses and made up a reason to hide it from the tribe. But the matter was too sudden. Meng Tu's handling of it was limited. The truth could not be concealed. Northern Plains GU immortals gradually found out about it. Meng Tu was under immense pressure. This was someone from the Celestial Court. They were secretly instigating him. Meng Tu was initially hoping to get lucky. He wanted to use the Celestial Court to establish merit and make up for his mistakes. But how could the Celestial Court allow a Blade Path GU immortal to scheme against them? Meng Tu was instead schemed against by the Celestial Court. After one wrong step, he continued to make mistakes. He had no choice but to rely on the Celestial Court. In order to assist this chess piece, the Celestial Court deduced the opportunity to advance to Great Grandmaster. It was this drinking blade wine deep underground. Meng Tu followed the Celestial Court's instructions and came to Autumn Blade Plain. He dug deep underground and excavated a large amount of drinking blade wine. He drank a small mouthful. His organs felt like they were being cut by blades. He drank a large mouthful. The pain was unbearable. He drank a third mouthful and advanced to Blade Path Great Grandmaster. At this point, he wholeheartedly served the Celestial Court. he became the second highest ranked traitor in Northern Plains after Prince's Impatience. Later on, his identity was exposed by Ma Hongyun by chance, and that was another story. Fang Yuan deduced that there was drinking blade wine here. Even though there was not much, he did not need much. As for this Meng Tu, Fang Yuan had carefully chosen him. He was a suitable opponent for him to test Yama Emperor's killer move. Fang Yuan could not find a rank 8 GU immortal to test Yama Emperor's killer move. That would be asking for trouble. Fang Yuan did not care about ordinary rank 7 GU immortals. Meng Tu, who had rank 7 peak stage battle strength, had been famous for a long time, and was also a Blade Path quasi-great grandmaster. He was very suitable. Thus, Fang Yuan traveled a long distance to Autumn Blade Plain to find trouble with Meng Tu. That attack just now was Meng Tu's trump card killer move. It has great power, but I used Yama Emperor's killer move to block it. This defensive power is quite good. Fang Yuan evaluated inwardly. Right now, he had already activated Yama Emperor. His whole body was covered in a yellowish-brown imperial robe. He had turned into a giant that was over 3 meters tall. The giant wore a crown on his head, and beaded curtains hung down from both his front and back. His face was deep and eerie, as if shrouded in a layer of fog, or like a whirlpool of darkness. His sleeves were wide, a jade belt was tied around his waist, and there was a layer of bronze armor on his chest and back. On the surface of his robe, there were thousands of ghosts drawn in golden lines. They were arranged in an orderly manner. They were unmoving like a forest, giving off a solemn aura. Meng Tu's attack earlier was not completely ineffective. The bronze armor on Yama Emperor's chest caved in a little. But soon, after Fang Yuan's soul foundation fell a little, this curve immediately swelled up and returned to its original state. This was the uniqueness of Yama Emperor's killer move. Rank 9 ghostly concealment did not consume anything. It could operate on its own, while Ghost Official Garment relied on Soul Foundation. The combination of the two, Yama Emperor's killer move did not require immortal essence, it only consumed Fang Yuan's Soul Foundation. A mere Meng Tu is only SOSO. You have been in secluded cultivation here for so many years. What new killer move did you create? It would be a pity if you don't use it before you die. Fang Yuan provoked. Meng Tu laughed wildly in anger, then he looked at Fang Yuan with a pitiful gaze. No matter who you are courting death by challenging me here. This place was once protected by an immortal formation, but do you know why I made the decision to convince the clan to take back the immortal formation? Because as long as I am here, there is no need for an immortal formation to protect this place. Saying so, Meng Tu stomped his right foot on the ground. Chapter 1577. In the blink of an eye, Fang Yuan was already surrounded by countless blade path phantoms. Not just that, even the sky was filled with countless blade lights, isolating the inside from the outside. No matter who you are, your defensive killer move is indeed powerful. Meng Tu was protected by layers of blade path phantoms. He looked at Fang Yuan with a dark gaze. He smiled as he rubbed his hands to soothe the numbness from that attack. But Meng Tu raised his head slightly and looked up at the towering Yang Di, but there was a look of pity in his eyes. You shouldn't have come to the Autumn Blade Plain to find trouble with me. Hehe, actually, it is not impossible for you to find trouble with me here. It is just that you chose the wrong time. If I had just come here, you might still have a chance to live. But now, Meng Tu laughed as he shook his head with his hands behind his back. At the next moment, Fang Yuan continued his words, but now, this place is filled with your traces. For many years, you have been comprehending Blade Path here, attempting to break through the bottleneck and become a Blade Path Great Grandmaster. Because of this, you can greatly influence the Dao marks here, creating an environment that is close to an immortal battlefield killer move. That is the scene I am seeing now. You. Meng Tu's expression changed. He thought that no one knew his trump card, but to think that Fang Yuan was not only not shocked, he even spoke of his trump card like he was familiar with it. Fang Yuan's voice became deep. Do you know why I am finding trouble with you? It is because you have such a method that you can create such a battle environment. Right now, this place is close to an immortal battlefield, but it is not a true immortal battlefield. There is a difference in essence. That is, your influence has already been displayed to the maximum, you cannot control it as you wish. So on one hand, this place is trapping me, but on the other hand, isn't it trapping you here as well? Meng Tu's pupils shrunk as he heard this, his smug expression completely vanished. Who are you? He had a nervous expression as he asked Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan laughed as he looked around. Even though there are many blade path phantoms, their quality is lacking. Coincidentally, my killer move also has a similar method, let's spar first. With that, countless roars came from the yellowish-brown imperial robe that Fang Yuan was wearing. Then, the monsters drawn on the surface of the robe came to life and began to move. Then, one by one, from small to large, they jumped out from Fang Yuan's Yama Emperor robe. These ghosts were all humanoid in appearance, but they were hideous and ferocious. They had green faces and sharp fangs. Their claws were like knives, and their eyes were blood red. They looked terrifying and horrifying. Kill. Meng Tu's eyes narrowed as he mobilized his saber Dao shadows to attack the ghosts. These blade Dao phantoms all resembled him, but their faces were blurry. Compared to the towering ghosts, they were like mice compared to the wheels of a carriage. The monster howled and stretched out its huge arms, which were like the trunks of a towering tree, sweeping in all directions. Bang! 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 Along the way, all the saber Dao phantoms collapsed. The ghosts let out frenzied roars as they moved in all directions. They were invincible, the saber Dao phantoms were all crushed and trampled on, none of them were a match. These ghosts are so strong, each of them has rank 7 battle strength. Meng Tu had rich battle experience. After observing for a while, his heart felt heavy as a mountain, and his eyelids were twitching. But it doesn't matter, my saber Dao phantoms originate from the natural Dao marks of Autumn Blade Plane, they are almost endless. Even though the quality is lacking, I can use quantity to make up for it. Meng Tu calmed down immediately. These Yama children have pretty good battle strength. Fang Yuan observed for a while and evaluated inwardly. He was quite satisfied with this result. These ghosts were the ancient soul beasts that Fang Yuan had collected from Green Ghost Desert. When Fang Yuan activated Yama Emperor, he could modify these ancient soul beasts and turn them into human forms, turning them into Yama children. This effect came from the blood deity Immortal Gu recipe. Fang Yuan had Grandmaster attainment level in Blood Path, and with the help of the Light of Wisdom, he had already deduced the blood deity Immortal Gu recipe. Right now, Fang Yuan was a refinement path quasi-supreme Grandmaster. Any Immortal Gu recipe could be turned into an immortal killer move after his deductions. Thus, Fang Yuan also had the blood deity Immortal Killer move. Yama children were designed with reference to the blood deity killer move, but it was not just the blood deity killer move, it also incorporated some of the essence of spectral soul's true inheritance. For example, soul beast modification. Spectral soul modified the soul beasts in the door of life and death, making them extremely loyal to spectral soul. Even when facing Duke Long, they would fight to the death. There was also a soul path immortal killer move, Death Return. This immortal killer move was created by spectral soul demon Venerable when he was still alive, after comprehending the secluded domain of heaven and earth, the door of life and death. What kind of place was the door of life and death? After any living being died, their soul would return to the door of life and death. But after Red Lotus demon Venerable destroyed Fate Gu, the door of life and death's power fell by a lot. Countless souls were left in the world and gradually turned into soul beasts. The killer move Life and Death Return allowed Gu immortals to have the ability to retrieve their souls from the door of life and death. Fang Yuan had perfectly fused this move into Yama Emperor's killer move, allowing Yama children to have the ability to instantly return. Soon, a Yama child gave a miserable cry, its leg was broken, it fell to the ground with a loud sound. Countless blade path phantoms immediately swarmed over and submerged it. But Fang Yuan willed, return. At the next moment, this Yama child turned into a lump of fog. With a whoosh, it shot back to Fang Yuan's imperial robe, turning back into a ghostly picture. It was motionless, it was riddled with injuries and its leg was broken. There was such a transformation. Meng Tu was shocked again, his hands that were behind his back subconsciously loosened. He looked at Fang Yuan with a dazed gaze. This Yama child was too shameless. Meng Tu had originally planned to rely on numbers to kill these Yama children, but he had not expected them to have a method to return. Although in theory, any killer move could be broken, Meng Tu was a Blade Path GU Immortal, he was not a Wisdom Path GU Immortal. Even if he was a Wisdom Path GU Immortal, this rank 8 Yama Emperor, if he was not a Wisdom Path Great Expert, how could he break it on the spot? Even if it was Fairy Myrtle, she could not break it on the spot. Against Reverse Flow Protection Seal, she had to repeatedly gather clues on the battlefield, accumulating them to have some results. Fang Yuan's Yama Emperor killer move used Ghostly Concealment as its foundation. This rank 9 killer move was a man-made secluded domain of heaven and earth, it was on the same level as Reverse Flow River, how could Meng Tu break it? Meng Tu could not break it, he could only brace himself and continue to fight against Fang Yuan. The number of Yama children was limited after all, although they killed a large number of Blade Path Phantoms, their injuries accumulated and they fell into a state of heavy injuries, they were retrieved by Fang Yuan one by one. On the battlefield, the number of Yama children was decreasing, while the Blade Path Phantoms were emerging endlessly. After all, Fang Yuan's time was limited, he could not modify enough soul beasts. With just this battle, Autumn Blade Plains Foundation is likely to weaken by more than half. Meng Tu's expression was gloomy. The price he had to pay for this was very high, he was using the entire Autumn Blade Plain, Meng tribe's future profits, to engage in a war of attrition with Fang Yuan. But no matter how much he had to sacrifice, Meng Tu resolutely carried out this tactic. Fang Yuan's earlier words had truly frightened him. In his heart, he had already regarded Fang Yuan as the strongest enemy in his life. Meng Tu was very careful, using any method he could to deal with Fang Yuan. However, this was also the result that Fang Yuan wanted to achieve with his words. Only such a Meng Tu was the best stepping stone for him to test the quality of Yama Emperor's killer move. There were only a few Yama children left, they guarded beside Fang Yuan, while countless Blade Path Phantoms surrounded them, surging over like a tide. The recovery speed is also acceptable. Fang Yuan's expression did not change, he stood on the spot like a 1,000-year-old ancient tree, unaffected by the wind and rain. At this time, the first Yama child that he retrieved back to the surface of Yama Emperor's imperial robe had already recovered from its injuries, it had recovered to its most complete state. These soul beasts that were modified into Yama children, once they returned to Yama Emperor's side, they would be continuously healed. Of course, it would also consume Fang Yuan's soul foundation. This contained the profound meaning of GU refinement. Yama children were still soul beasts in essence. The healing of Yama children, in other words, was the process of GU refinement. If I release these recovered Yama children, I wonder what expression Meng Tu will have. Fang Yuan smiled to himself, but he did not do it, he used another method instead. Let me see the offensive power of Yama Emperor. At the next moment, Fang Yuan shouted in his mind. Soul explosion. Yama Emperor suddenly opened his arms, his body shook as a surging black air wave surged out. The Yama children were unscathed in the black air wave, they were unstable as if they had encountered a strong wind. But those Blade Path Phantoms were like weak candlelight in a storm, they were extinguished instantly. In an instant, the entire battlefield was cleared, the countless blade lights were also destroyed. Meng Tu was forced back several hundred steps by the soul explosion, he half knelt on the ground, his whole body was shining with a dazzling light as he activated his defensive killer move to its greatest power. Such power. Meng Tu raised his head and quickly stood up, he looked at Fang Yuan with an expression of shock. This killer move is so powerful, it should be a compound move that combines both offense and defense. Its defense is extremely strong, and it has the powerful method of using clones and weapons, but its true strength lies in its offense. I have never seen or heard of this killer move, was it created by this person? If so, who in the world is he to be able to create such a killer move? This soul explosion's effect is not bad. Fang Yuan smacked his lips. One of his Yama children had been completely expended, it had the power of a peak rank 7 killer move, but it was still not at rank 8 level. Defense, Yama children, recovery, soul explosion, these are all at the peak of rank 7. But Yama Emperor's true strength lies in two other aspects. Now, let me try this move. Just as Fang Yuan was thinking, Meng Tu had already charged over, shouting, "Come, have a taste of my heaven and earth blade. Immortal killer move, great thief ghost hand." In an instant, a ghostly hand as large as a cattail leaf fan appeared behind Meng Tu and directly entered his body. Then, it shrank back and disappeared from sight once again. Puff! Meng Tu coughed out a mouthful of blood. The core immortal GU of Heaven and Earth blade was stolen, the killer move's activation failed, the backlash actually caused him to be heavily injured and on the verge of death. Chapter 1578. Earlier, in Green Ghost Desert, Fang Yuan had used Great Thief Ghost Hand to steal rank 8 Immortal GU Soul Beast token. Great Thief Ghost Hand was only rank 7, its core was rank 7 Great Thief Immortal GU. But with the help of Yama, its power soared and he could steal a rank 8 Immortal GU from the legendary immemorial Soul Beast Ching Cho. But back then, Great Thief Ghost Hand's range was very short. Fang Yuan's main body had to make a move personally. Fang Yuan modified Yama and fused Great Thief Ghost Hand into it, creating a brand new killer move, Yama Emperor. Right now, Fang Yuan's Great Thief Ghost Hand not only had a longer range, it could also conceal itself. It was not strange that Meng Tu got hit, it would be abnormal if he did not get hit. "This is your blade path Immortal GU. Oh, White Wing Butterfly, fist-sized. Is this Blade Wing Immortal GU?" Fang Yuan retracted Great Thief Ghost Hand, and a rank 7 Immortal GU was sealed in his hand. The butterfly wings had layers of cloud markings on them, they were extremely exquisite. Cold sweat dripped down Meng Tu's forehead, he was lying on the ground, his pupils shrunk to pin size as he stared at Fang Yuan, his voice hoarse. You actually stole the Immortal GU I hid in my immortal aperture. Did you obtain Thieving Heaven's True Inheritance? Thieving Heaven's True Inheritance, hey, you guessed right, I did obtain one of them. Fang Yuan sneered, in front of Meng Tu, he stored Bladewing Immortal GU in his immortal aperture, suppressing it in Heaven's Sealing Mountain. Meng Tu's eyelids twitched. Bladewing Immortal GU was not his vital GU, he had advanced it from a rank 5 mortal GU to this GU. He had failed dozens of times, expending a lot of resources, time, and energy, to think that it would be snatched away today. Anger surged in Meng Tu's heart. But even more than anger, he felt fear. What did Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable rely on to wreak havoc in the world back then? Wasn't it this rogue method of stealing immortal GU? Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable could even steal things hidden in immortal apertures. And now, Fang Yuan had reused Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's methods. The latter's shadow that suppressed an entire era was like a heavy dark cloud that shrouded Meng Tu's mind. Meng Tu healed his injuries with all his strength as he spoke with a nervous expression. "Since you are a Theft Path GU Immortal and have also inherited Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritance, then you should know the rule set by your sect's founder, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable. Thieves have their own path. Always leave a way out and never go to extremes. Since you took my Bladewing Immortal GU, what else do you want? If you want anything else, I can lend it to you." Back then, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable roamed the world unhindered, no one could stop him. But Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was not evil in nature, he was kind and respected glory, he only wanted to return to his homeland, all of his cultivation and stolen resources were used here. After the 5 regions GU Immortals understood his goal, they also knew that they could not guard against Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's methods. If Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable needed anything, as long as it did not endanger their lives, they would lend it to him. Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was not greedy, after getting what he wanted, he would let the GU Immortals go and keep their lives. In most situations, he would only take what he needed, he did not care about the other immortal GU or immortal materials, no matter how valuable they were. Since Fang Yuan had inherited Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's true inheritance, he was Thieving Heaven's inheritor. Meng Tu knew that he had no chance of winning, the situation was extremely bad, he directly asked for mercy. Fang Yuan frowned, saying, "If you really want to, it is not impossible." Saying so, Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance, he pushed with both hands. Immortal killer move, soul explosion. A surging black chi wave surged towards Meng Tu like a tide. Meng Tu did not dodge, he laughed loudly. Do you really think I, Meng Tu, am someone who easily begs for mercy? The moment he said so, he was engulfed by Fang Yuan's soul explosion black wave. But immediately, his body shone with dazzling blade light, he actually self-detonated. Boom! An intense explosion with vast and terrifying power overturned the whole of Autumn Blade Plain. After the explosion, Meng Tu's corpse was obliterated, while Fang Yuan's Yama Emperor was mostly destroyed. It was in a sorry state. The quasi-immortal battlefield that had enveloped the whole of Autumn Blade Plain had completely collapsed. The whole of Autumn Blade Plain had sunk by 5 to 6 feet. Fang Yuan used his investigative killer move to scan the battlefield. After several times, he finally confirmed that Meng Tu was truly dead. This Meng Tu actually self-detonated. Fang Yuan was shocked. He had a strange expression. He had not expected Meng Tu to be so brave and straightforward. This was clearly not the same as Fang Yuan's previous life's memories. If Meng Tu looked down on life and death so much, why would he side with the Celestial Court? Precisely because of this, Fang Yuan had always felt that Meng Tu's bones were soft, so when Meng Tu begged for mercy, Fang Yuan subconsciously chose to believe him. Of course, Fang Yuan had never thought of letting Meng Tu go, but just as he was about to attack, Meng Tu was one step ahead of him. He self-detonated. This decisiveness and willpower was truly too straightforward. Maybe Meng Tu's nature gradually changed through all sorts of events. After all, people change. Also, in the 500 years of my previous life, the Celestial Court was the one who took action. The Celestial Court naturally used an exceptional method to instigate Meng Tu's rebellion. Fang Yuan shook his head. He took one last look at Autumn Blade Plain before flying into the sky, rapidly retreating. Almost all of the Edge GU in Autumn Blade Plain had been destroyed in this battle. But the potential for future development was even greater. Because Meng Tu's final self-detonation had engraved all of his blade path Dao marks here. Fang Yuan, however, had very few gains in this battle. Other than testing Yama Emperor's killer move, he only obtained a rank 7 Bladewing Immortal GU. He had expected Meng Tu's immortal aperture and soul, but he did not obtain them. Meng Tu's decisiveness caused Fang Yuan's gains to fall sharply. He achieved his goal. Even if he died, he would not let the enemy obtain any benefits. After Fang Yuan used Great Thief Ghost Hand, Meng Tu knew that his immortal GU would be stolen by Fang Yuan one after another, and because he was heavily injured and was trapped here, he had no hope of escaping. Thus he self-detonated. From his perspective, it was a very wise move. Since ancient times, the hardest path is death. This Meng Tu has courage. In the 500 years of my previous life, he sided with the Celestial Court and was spurned by Northern Plains GU Immortal World and his clan. He was labeled as a disgrace. Although he died in this life, he will definitely have the honor of a martyr after death. Fang Yuan sighed inwardly. However, during the battle, his original goal was achieved. Long before he stole Bladewing Immortal GU, he had secretly taken out the drinking blade wine from the depths of the ground. Along the way, he had also taken away several hundred Edge GU. It was better than nothing. Fang Yuan retreated very quickly. Autumn Blade Plain was within Meng tribe's territory. When Meng Tu saw Fang Yuan attacking, he had definitely sent the information to the tribe. Thus, not long after, Meng tribe would sense Meng Tu's death and send a large number of GU immortals to the scene of Autumn Blade Plain. He had already obtained the items. Fang Yuan was still hoping that in the future, Northern Plains would become an obstacle to the expansion of the Celestial Court. Thus, there was no need to slaughter these Northern Plains GU immortals now and weaken Northern Plains' strength. Wouldn't that be helping the Celestial Court? When not fighting, Yama Emperor's imperial robe gradually shrunk, eventually turning into a silk cloth, with a thin layer of bronze armor covering his chest and back, sticking closely to Fang Yuan's skin. Oh! Someone is deducing about me. After a while, Fang Yuan flew in the sky. His expression suddenly changed. Meng tribe was a super force. They specially nurtured a wisdom path GU immortal. Now that Meng Tu was dead, Meng tribe was shaken. They would definitely find the culprit. Fang Yuan held his breath, carefully observing Yama Emperor's killer move. He saw that Yama Emperor's imperial robe gradually expanding along with the Meng tribe wisdom path Gu Immortal's deductions. Fang Yuan resisted the other party's deductions while simultaneously calculating the expenditure of his soul foundation. After deducing for a while, Meng tribe's wisdom path Gu Immortal stopped with no results. Fang Yuan, however, nodded in satisfaction. Yama Emperor's killer move can resist wisdom path deductions. Its power is even stronger, it is at rank 8 level. Even if the celestial quartz fairy myrtle deductions, I can resist them. To sum it up, Yama Emperor's killer move's defense and offense had reached the peak of rank 7. Yama children were very difficult to deal with. Not only could they be used freely, they could also recover quickly. Even if there were losses, they could be easily replenished by the Soul Beast's modification. Even more amazing was Great Thief Ghost Hand. This method could steal rank 8 immortal GU. In this battle, with just one move, it had completely established victory, forcing a rank 7 expert like Meng Tu to self-detonate. Similar to Great Thief Ghost Hand, Emperor Yama Killer Move's defense against wisdom path deductions was also at the same level. This was also what Fang Yuan needed the most. However, Yama Emperor's killer move still has room for improvement. I can design an immortal battlefield killer move with Yama Emperor as the center. This time, I used his method to seal the battlefield and isolate it from the outside world. If he had not shot himself in the foot, he would have been able to escape freely, and it would have been much more troublesome for me to kill him. Moreover, if I have an immortal battlefield, I would be able to detect Meng Tu's self-detonation in my territory. Chapter 1579. 2 Gu Immortals were flying in the sky. They had rough appearances and muscular bodies. They were Meng tribe's Gu Immortals Meng Zizai and Meng Jiao. Just as Fang Yuan had expected, when he first appeared, Meng Tu immediately spread the news of an enemy invasion. Later, Meng Tu activated his blade path Dao marks and placed the whole of Autumn Blade Plain in an environment similar to an immortal battlefield. Until his death, news of him could not be spread. With an enemy invading so openly, Meng tribe naturally would not take it lightly. They immediately mobilized a rank 7 Gu Immortal, Meng Zizai, and a young rank 6 Gu Immortal, Meng Jiao, to provide support. Uncle, who do you think is so blind as to want to provoke my Meng family? In my opinion, it might be those demonic path Gu Immortals who have lost contact with the outside world after entering closed cultivation. Meng Jiao said to Meng Zizai with a smile as they flew. Meng Zizai's expression was stiff, but this was his normal state. His gaze also revealed a relaxed expression as he nodded. Your analysis is reasonable, but we need to make some preparations for the worst. In the current situation, Longevity Heaven has appeared and is ruling over all the Huang Jin tribes of Northern Plains. Old Ancestor Shui, who has disappeared in defeat, Heavenly Lord Baizu has turned into a righteous path cultivator. The righteous path is extremely prosperous, but there is still someone who dares to risk universal condemnation and find trouble with our Huang Jin tribes. He is either a lunatic or has something to rely on. That is why the tribe sent us to reinforce them, in case of any mishaps. Uncle is right. But Meng Jiao paused for a moment before laughing. That person is really unlucky. He actually bumped into Lord Meng Tu, who is guarding Autumn Blade Plain. Lord Meng Tu cultivates Blade Path and has quasi-great Grandmaster Blade Path attainment level. He is one of the top 3 rank 7 Supreme Elders in our tribe. He might not be a quasi-great Grandmaster. Meng Zizai sighed. Meng Jiao's eyes immediately brightened. Uncle, you mean? Meng Zizai smiled. This brother of mine is the person I admire the most in my life. No one in the tribe can match his talent in Blade Path. He has been cultivating in Autumn Blade Plain all these years. With his talent, he might already be a great Grandmaster. Blade Path Great Grandmaster. As expected of Lord Meng Tu. Meng Jiao sighed. Ha, yes. Meng Zizai also smiled. He had been taken care of by Meng Tu many times in his cultivation, so he respected Meng Tu the most. Therefore, when Meng Tu informed them of the enemy attack, Meng Zizai took the initiative to come and support Meng Tu. In fact, deep in his heart, he was also very confident in Meng Tu. This time, the main reason why he was going was to catch up with Meng Tu and then introduce Meng Jiao to him. Meng Jiao was carefully chosen by Meng Zizai to be a Gu immortal junior nurtured by the tribe. In this Meng family, there are also various factions, each representing their own political interests. Meng Tu and Meng Zizai belong to the middle faction, while Meng Jiao was chosen by Meng Tu to add fresh blood to this faction. Meng Jiao also knew the importance of this trip, so he was very excited. Autumn Blade Plain isn't far. I'll be able to see my clan brother soon. Sigh, I haven't seen him for many years. If he can become a Blade Dao Great Grandmaster, it will be of great benefit to our sect. Meng Zizai pondered. But right at this moment, his body suddenly shook, and then his expression changed drastically. His eyes opened wide and were filled with extreme shock. What's wrong, uncle? Meng Jiao saw Meng Zizai's change in expression and was very puzzled. Ever since he came into contact with Meng Zizai, this was the first time he had seen this steady uncle in such a state. But soon, Meng Jiao saw Meng Zizai lose his composure even more. Unknowingly, Meng Zizai had slowed down his speed until he hovered in the air, motionless like a stone statue. His expression turned pale and his eyes turned red. There were actually tears in them. Meng Jiao was even more shocked. Something big must have happened. But he did not dare to continue asking. He could only stay beside Meng Zizai, planning to accompany him in the cold wind in the air. Meng Zizai was dazed for a while, but suddenly, his expression changed again, becoming sinister and terrifying. His red eyes were filled with blazing anger. Meng Zizai let out a loud roar that was like a thunderclap that shook 1,000 miles, and then he shot out explosively and charged forward like a sudden clap of thunder. Meng Jiao was caught unprepared by this sudden change, but after he reacted, he quickly chased after him. But how could his speed compare to the rank 7 Gu immortal Meng Zizai? Very soon, he was left far behind. Meng Jiao had many questions in his mind. What is going on? He had a strong ominous feeling. Wait a minute. The place uncle was heading towards was the direction of Autumn Blade Plain. Could it be that Lord Meng too has met with misfortune? Thinking of this, Meng Jiao shuddered and shuddered. If that was the case, then it would be a nightmare for him, and also a very bad news for the whole Meng tribe. If Meng Tu, who had peak rank 7 battle strength, died, it would be a huge loss to Meng tribe. Meng Jiao chased after him with all his strength, finally arriving at Autumn Blade Plain. What happened here? Meng Jiao was shocked. He had not even arrived at Autumn Blade Plain, but he could already feel the surging blade path Dao marks in the air. Autumn Blade Plain's terrain had been completely destroyed, replaced by millions of blade marks, crazily slashing on the ground, forming crisscrossing tunnels and long trenches. Meng Jiao soon found Meng Zizai. The latter was kneeling on the ground, silent like a statue. Meng Jiao carefully landed on the ground. This place was filled with dense blade path Dao marks, piercing his skin and making him feel pain. Meng Jiao came to Meng Zizai's side and was shocked to find that there were 2 trails of tears on the latter's face. He came to Autumn Blade Plain and only saw Meng Zizai, but not Meng Tu. The guess in his mind became many times clearer. Meng Jiao's expression involuntarily became somewhat frightened. Meng Zizai slowly raised his eyes, looking at Meng Jiao. His voice was deep and hoarse. Anyone who heard it would know that he was suppressing the intense pain and anger in his heart. Meng Zizai slowly said, "My brother Meng Tu died in battle." Meng Jiao's body shook, even though he had already guessed it. When Meng Zizai confirmed it, he could not help but be extremely shocked. Meng Tu actually died in battle? Who was it that could kill him with such battle prowess? Meng Jiao opened his mouth. He struggled for a long time before saying, "Uncle, Lord Meng Tu has great battle strength. How can he die so easily? Maybe he is still alive, he just changed the battlefield." But Meng Zizai slowly shook his head. "When you and I were on the way, the clan sent me news that Meng Tu's soul lamp was extinguished. But I still had a trace of hope, until I came here." Saying so, he choked with sobs. Tears flowed down from his red eyes again. Men do not easily shed tears, only when they are not deeply hurt. Meng Zizai stuttered, "I know he has a killer move called leaving blade to take life. It explodes his body, destroying his immortal aperture, immortal Gu and so on, erupting with unprecedented power. Once this move is used, he will definitely die, there is no chance of survival. That means. Meng Zhao quickly looked at the whole battlefield. This time, he was even more shocked. Meng too died in battle. Such a powerful GU immortal actually died. He was forced to self-detonate in such a short time. Who was the other party? All sorts of past events and memories surfaced in Meng Zizai's mind. Meng too died in battle. This was also something he had never expected. Meng Zizai cried for a while before slowly standing up. He became expressionless, saying to Meng Zhao, "Go back, Meng too died in battle, my Meng tribe will not let this matter rest." But this time, the enemy's strength has reached an unimaginable level. When Meng too was attacked, he immediately sent a message back and we immediately set off without stopping. In such a short time, Meng too could not hold on and was forced to self-detonate by the enemy. I know his nature, he probably wanted to use this move to drag the enemy down with him. But now, there are no traces of him. This means the enemy is dead. This is a strong enemy that leaving Blade to take life could not kill. I will definitely pursue him, even if I have to use up my entire life. I will capture the true culprit. But this matter is already beyond your ability. Go back to the tribe and cultivate properly. Don't leak this information. Meng Zhao's heart was extremely heavy. He nodded. I understand, uncle, you must be careful. Meng too died in battle. Meng tribe lost a powerful general. It was not a light loss. At the same time, they also provoked a strong enemy with a mysterious origin and unknown motive. Meng tribe's higher-ups chose to seal off this information for the time being to maintain stability. As for Meng Zhao, his cultivation level was too low. He did not receive any message from the tribe informing him of this. Don't worry. This time, Second Supreme Elder will personally take action, along with the immortal GU House Investigation Courtyard. Meng Zizai patted Meng Zhao's shoulder. Meng Zhao nodded, feeling at ease. He left without any hesitation. With the immortal GU House Investigation Courtyard, he would not be afraid even if he encountered a rank 8 existence. Meng Zhao stayed on the spot. He did not have to wait for long before Investigation Courtyard appeared in the horizon. Not long after, Investigation Courtyard stopped, Meng tribe's second Supreme Elder walked out of the courtyard and nodded at Meng Zizai with a heavy expression, before impatiently inspecting the battlefield. But how could Fang Yuan have left any clues? After Meng tribe's second Supreme Elder inspected the battlefield, his expression became even more gloomy. Meng Zizai said, "This mysterious enemy is extremely clean, he is very experienced in dealing with traces, I have already investigated it." Meng tribe's second Supreme Elder nodded, "No worries, I brought Investigation Courtyard this time." Investigation Courtyard was an information path immortal GU house. It was most proficient in gathering information. Meng tribe's second Supreme Elder immediately activated a killer move. They really did find some clues. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.